Welcome to episode 49 of the Oddcast, where we are discussing all things the under 16 social media ban and how well that's playing out for everyone. And of course, we'll talk about the $13 million machete bins that are now in the scrap heap. Bonnie Blue is in jail in Indonesia, and of course, a whole host of other ridiculous issues. So strap in, get yourself a drink, and let's play the bingo game.
How have we buggered up travel this badly? I mean, this badly. So yesterday I spent 11 and a half hours behind the wheel, and this car tried to kill me 3 times.
Oh, because it did the brake thing?
Well, no, not the brake thing, the steer thing.
Oh, it just like grabs you?
I rented a Kia Carnival.
Yep.
In many respects, actually a brilliant vehicle for the purpose. I was picking up a bunch of stuff and driving it long distances. It literally tried to kill me.
Yeah.
3 times.
Yep.
Steer me into potentially fatal situations.
I will not have a car that has been built post 2018. I will not do it.
So, well, I have some good news on that front, but also you were telling me that you've had some wonderful. So my road trip was completely munted, not by technology, but by the imposition of technology.
Yeah.
The humans, the regulators, the bureaucrats that decided that this technology should be everywhere and ubiquitous and controlling my road trip. Otherwise, it was lovely. I just the miles rolling by, all the rest. I love a road trip. But you had some fun with the airlines yesterday.
I went to Sydney. I was there less than 24 hours. I think I was traveling for 22 hours.
Right.
Not only did it cost me $1,200 to fly to Sydney and back, it took me almost 8 hours going up and 6.5 hours coming back.
So you've heard of Matt Lawson, right? You know who Matt is.
Yeah.
I think he walked to Brisbane faster than than you flew to Sydney.
I could have driven there and back and been more prompt and on time than using our airline.
Okay, so the $1,200 cost, I don't have a lot of sympathy for you on that front. Have you thought about hitchhiking? Right, just pull the legs up, stick the thumb out.
What could go wrong?
Right, listen.
John Wood drives past.
You'd be there in no time. No, so I rented this car. I've had these guys in Horsham, now in Nil, doing my my merch for a long time. Aussie Bot, awesome guys, great company, and we're bringing everything to Melbourne now. So I had to pick up all the stuff, all the product that was there, and so I drove out there. I rented a Kia Carnival because I needed the space. I've got a Volkswagen sedan. It's not gonna hold boxes of merch and so forth. So I rent this thing, and I'm driving out there, and it's all new. It's got the adaptive, range sensing cruise control, which I do enjoy. I appreciate that as a piece of technology. But as soon as you start driving, it starts dinging at you.
Ugh.
It starts dinging because you got too close to the line. Not you crossed the line. No. You're still well within your lane, but I'm just not happy with the fact that you're not in exactly the center of your lane. And the steering wheel's like nibbling the whole time. It's just always always just wanted to try and correct you and tell you what to do. Then you get to 61 kilometers an hour indicated speed. Let's not forget you're still under the speed limit in real terms because there's some error in the speedo. It starts dinging at you about your speed. Every time the speed limit changes, it detects it and goes ding to let you know that the speed limit has changed. So now it's beeping at you because you're driving like an actual driver. You've got roadcraft. So you're using the width of the lane through corners. You're getting close to this line here, close, ding, 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 ding on the speed, ding on the speed limit change. Then you go into a school zone at a time when it's not the school zone time. And the damn thing starts screaming at you because you're still driving at 60 kilometers an hour and it thinks you should be doing 40.
Yeah. The whole thing is ridiculous.
I'm ready to chuck this entire vehicle into one of those jolly machete bins. Like, find me one of those machete bins.
Drive it into a lake.
I will set this thing on fire and shove it through that slot. I was ropeable.
I told you how I felt when I had the Isuzu MUX as like my hire car when my car was getting fixed.
Yeah.
I could not hand that thing back quick enough. I detested it.
Yeah.
The thing I thought was the most dangerous was when you're on cruise control and there might be a car about 100 or 200 meters in front of you and it starts braking, but then there's people behind you. And so it's slowing down and then these cars are like getting ready to ram up your ass.
They don't care. Why are you slowing down? What's going on?
You want to overtake, so you're getting up speed, you're closing in on the distance behind the car in front of you, and then it makes you slow down. I'm like, dude, I can't overtake this car at 90. I hate it.
It destroys roadcraft because humans don't drive like robots. But that wasn't the bit where it tried to kill me. Where it tried to kill me was out on the open road. So the worst one was big wide load. There was these big metal collars. I think they're to do with the wind turbines. There's a lot of wind turbines out in the Mallee. Massive metal collar, double the width of the trailer, and it was on a low trailer, so it was decapitation height. Like it was smashed through the A pillar and just take my head off kind of height.
Yeah.
And it had all the vehicles in front and behind and all the flags hanging. They'd done all the right things, okay?
Yeah.
And the road had enough shoulder at that point. Some of the roads out there are really dodgy. This was okay. This piece of road was all right. I had enough shoulder to pull across that line, straddle the white line on the edge of the road, and we could just go straight past each other. No big deal. Except that the minute I started to head towards that line, the car starts steering me back into my lane. Thank you very much.
It wanted to kill you.
It literally tried to drive me into a decapitation.
Wow.
Now, you can physically override it, but then now I'm active. I'm pushing this thing across the line.
Yeah.
And then at some point it suddenly goes, oh, you want to cross the line. Okay. And it stops the resistance.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden
you've got
I'm
this
doing
little
these,
steering- yeah.
I'm doing these ones, heading straight for the jolly paddock off
Yeah.
the other side. And this is what they think is safety technology.
Yes.
This is there to help me.
The whole thing is so disastrous. And the issue is every car has that now. Every new car has to have that. I think they're actually pulling some of it back.
They are. I covered this in one of my videos recently. Now, I have some great news because not only have ANCAP recognised that they've gone way too far, there's too many beeps, too many boops, dings and dongs, too much intrusiveness. They put it in the rules that it had to be difficult to turn these damn things off because they wanted to force you to keep them on. And so they would default back to being on every time you turn the car on. And there were rules that required it to be multiple button presses in order to turn these things off. That's gone away. So all the new cars won't
That's going
have
to render that era of cars so...
Except that the manufacturers are all over it. So, for example, I'm driving a Kia Carnival. So
Yeah.
I looked into it last night because I was so frustrated. And I discovered now that you can get software updates for most, not every single one, but for most of the cars sold during that period in time, you can do a software update through a USB stick or over the air, depending on which model of car, and they've given you shortcuts. So, for example, when I drove this morning, do you know how many times my car dinged at me?
Not many.
0. Not a damn one. So, if you drive a Kia or a Hyundai, try this. If it's a late model, hold down the mute button, and it will turn off all of the warnings related to speed. It'll still show you your speed down on the dash, which is handy. I like having that there. But all the dings are gone, all the flashes are gone, all that's gone. Hold down the lane keeping assist button for long enough, and the icon turns orange, and it turns off. So I drove an actual car. This
How
morning.
refreshing.
It was lovely. If I'd have had that all day yesterday, I would not have been a nervous, frustrated, nearly dead wreck by the end of the day.
I reckon that's why everyone's gotten progressively bad at driving. Like, my Jeep doesn't have any of those. It's got cruise control.
Oh, we've been looking at you the whole... Oh, have we? No.
No.
Okay, yep, it's all right.
Relax,
Sorry, I thought no one had
guy.
seen my beautiful face.
Panicking. Oh my
It's
God,
just-
look at me.
Oh, look at me. Look at me.
There's
Sorry.
enough of that in this world.
Why driving's gotten bad, you were saying?
Oh, because like I have to drive my car. It's
Yeah.
a 2016 model, and I see people like veering. And I've said this on the podcast before. When I'm driving, because I'm up high, I can see people veering in, and I'm just driving straight. I'm not doing anything, and people are like coming into my lane, and I'm. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm right here. I'm bright fucking
And
blue.
it's not like it's hard to see.
Yeah.
Right. It's
actually,
it's big. It's
excuse
blue.
Excuse me, everyone. We need to interrupt them. What did you say to me today when we're at the storage unit?
This is almost as embarrassing as if I'd said something nice about Apple.
Yeah. What did you say?
Okay, so
for
I
the
have
record,
we got to paint them. People have to
for the
understand
record,
the scene.
I got Dexter detailed, and I mean inside, outside, cut, polish, the whole thing. Like, he looks brand new.
The blacks look black. The blues look blue.
He's shiny.
I'm sitting there at a storage unit. So I've brought all the merch from nil. I drove 11 and a half hours behind the wheel yesterday in 13 hours of elapsed time. It was my bum was sore. And I get to the so Carly
I don't need
says
to
to
know
me,
about your
Carly
private
says
life.
to me, getting to the storage unit is going to take me 90 minutes from where I stayed last night. And so I dutifully left at 7:30 this morning in order to be there by 9 o'clock, and I got there at 8:05. 35-minute clean run, no problems, no traffic, nothing. It's one of the first times it's ever happened in Melbourne. And so I had time to kill, and so I started hassling Carly, like, get your ass down here, let's get some work done.
I could sue you or like take you for the harassment by carriage service or
Yeah,
whatever
I
it
know,
is.
but you know I'm not worth anything, so there's no point. So anyway, she comes down, and I'm sitting there watching, and yes, when that streak of bright electric blue with all the blacks looking black and the blues looking blue came across down the freeway, and
Glistening.
then pretty sure used the handbrake as you did like a rally turn around at the set of traffic lights. There were two old ladies and a cat that had to scramble out of your way before you finally blocked your way into the actual storage unit car park. Dexter looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dexter did look good. I sat there and I went, damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's a cool car.
Dexter looks good.
Yeah. I'm very proud of him. I until all of those beeps are gone, like I said, you can pry him from my cold dead hands.
Well, one of the reasons why I researched yesterday is because we need to update our car. It's got over 250,000 Ks on it. It's 9 years old. It's too small for the family. There's a lot of reasons why we just need to move this one on before it starts to cost us a lot of money. And we don't have much money. So I'm looking at Hyundais. I'm looking at these sorts of cars to move into. And the dings and dongs and bips and boops bother me enormously, probably disproportionately, but for whatever reason, the way I'm wired. Like, if a machine is going to tell me I'm wrong, it'd better damn well be right.
Yes.
Okay? Like, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. If I'm actually wandering out of my lane and the car goes, oi, you're wandering out of your lane, I go, okay, yeah, fair cop. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. But if I'm not wandering out of my lane and you're beeping and booping at me and telling me I'm doing the wrong thing and you're a robot,
Beep, beep, boop, boop.
okay, I will John Connor that. I will John Connor your ass. Like, I have no patience for these machines. So that's why I researched it last night. And I'm very, very pleased to discover that actually, even though they will still reset each time you turn the car on, it's just long press that button, long press that button, gone,
Yeah.
and I'm just driving a car at that point. So yeah, I'm hoping that next year I'll be able to make enough to be able to get rid of the Volkswagen, because it's starting to. Yeah.
Off topic, because I've been paying a lot more attention recently to all the taxes and what's going on. I'm following a lot of these sort of business people who are now starting to speak out, which I've mentioned before.
Yeah.
We're definitely seeing leaders in the business community starting to come out going, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I wish I saved it. I was looking for it before, but it was essentially a guy talking about if you wanted to buy a G-Wagon, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I couldn't think of anything less I would buy. I think they're ugly.
But it's the Mercedes version of a Jeep.
They don't look cool. They do not look cool. Do you know they're like almost $500,000?
Yeah.
They're like $380,000, $400,000.
Stupid money.
Yeah.
But you
I'd buy a
realize
TRX.
you can spend $100,000 on a Jeep now.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's because of all the friggin' Tesla screen size beep, beep, beep. I don't want any of that. I just want a car.
It's actually just because our money's lost all of its value. But yeah.
And it doesn't have, if it had the V8, I'd be like, I will pay $100,000. Anyway, and he was breaking it all down. I'm just going to paraphrase because, I'm not the expert on this, but he was talking about, okay, so you have to pay the luxury car tax.
Yes.
And by the time you claim depreciation and all those sorts of things, you end up paying almost the equivalent of the car itself.
In tax.
Mm-hmm. So if it's costing you $380,000, it's actually costing you, almost $800,000 to have this G-Wagon.
Yep.
And then you go to Dubai and you wonder why everyone in Dubai has Ferraris, Lambos, G-Wagons, whatever, because it's like they're $200,000 US, and that's it.
That's the cost.
That's the full stop.
That's right.
And then when you add, on-road costs and all that sort of stuff. And
the cost of government is eating us alive.
Yes.
That is a fact.
Yes. And it's interesting because our first story is obviously we're continuing on this Annika Wells stuff because unfortunately for Labor, this story is not going away. Oh, yes. We've got to do all the things. Did we
forget something?
Wait. No. I got presents for the podcast.
Oh.
So I have got two new things.
You own 3 books now. That's amazing.
I'm smart. So I've got this cute little series, which was really... Why is it not on me? Thank you. This cute little series that I found, and this one is a word of the day, and it's got some more complicated words in here, and it's got better descriptions. I liked this one better.
Okay.
And this one is history you used to know. So I thought we could all have a little bit of bite-sized... You can't see me. A bite-sized piece of history.
Right.
And then a word.
Okay.
We're here to learn.
I mean, is this just going to be now a 10-hour podcast? Are we
Correct.
just adding
anyway,
segments?
Shut up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Was that stop?
That was correct. It was just easier.
Oh, this is one of my favourite words, recalcitrant.
Oh, well, yeah, you use that all the time.
We can't use
do
that. Timorous.
Timorous. I don't know what that is.
Timorous describes someone who is fearful, as does the adjective timid.
Like timid, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Both derive from Latin verb timere, meaning to fear, but timorous came into the use in the English language during the mid-15th century, whereas timid was coined around 100 years later. As well as describing a human or animal who is easily frightened, both can be used to illustrate a gesture or movement indicating fear. The little boy gave the teacher a timorous smile.
I see.
Are we going to use timorous?
Yeah, let's use timorous.
How much better are those descriptions? And
you're right. This needs to be burned. Burn this book.
Oh, this is a good word.
We've already got...
I know,
save it
but...
for next week.
Opprobrium.
Opprobrium.
Opprobrium?
I don't know. I'm the other one reading the book, but that's what it sounds like. Opprobrium.
Opprobrium, yeah. Refers to public disgrace or blame. Can we use that one? That one's better. Timorous is dumb.
Timorous and opprobrium.
Opprobrium. Oh wait, we're gonna use both.
Well, hey, let's have a go. Let's see if one of us can get a 2 for 1 deal.
Okay.
A 2 for none deal. Two versus none. I don't even know what I'm saying
Shut
anymore.
up.
Yeah.
Opprobrium refers to public disgrace or blame. The word was borrowed from Latin in the 17th century and comes from the verb opprobrave, meaning to reproach. The adjective opprobrious also comes from this source, meaning infamous or scurrilous.
Scurrilous.
Yeah, maybe
Scurrilous. So it's opprobrium.
Opprobrium.
Yep. Okay. Just making sure I'm. Yeah. Okay. It's not opprobrium. It's opprobrium. Yep. Sorry, I had that wrong. There you go.
Do you guys love suffering through a dyslexic trying to pronounce really complicated words and read things?
Look, I mean, this is why I invited you to podcast with me, because you're one of the.
I make you look smart.
You are one of the few people in the world that makes me look good.
I'm going to leave that open.
On its face, where neither of us can see it. Yep.
I need to
opprobrium and timorous. Yeah, you're going to have it right in front of you as usual. You little cheating.
Well, hang on.
Opprobrium.
Yeah, no, we said it right.
I won't finish that sentence.
You also, we've got some housekeeping.
We do.
You will be watching a video today. I won't be watching it with you, but I will play it for you, and we will get your reaction live on air.
What are you going to be doing?
Not watching it. I don't need to watch it. I know it's real. You gaslit the entire audience saying it wasn't real, so now you're going to watch
listen, I just shared with you my lived experience. I'm feeling very judged here.
I'm feeling like you've become a progressive.
I'm feeling oppressed. That my lived experience was that this video didn't exist, and
I
so
apologize.
that must be the truth.
This is a professional podcast. We do take it seriously, but Topher will be watching Two Girls, One Cup on this podcast. If that offends you, I apologize, but he must suffer.
I am psychologically prepared.
This is my retribution.
See, here's the thing. Did you ever watch a movie that you thought was super scary when you were younger, and then 10 years later you watched it back and went, "Really? I used to be afraid of that? Like, that's so stupid."
Yeah, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and so things that were shocking and disgusting in the early days of the internet are now any given Tuesday.
No, it's pretty disgusting still. Yeah. No. I don't think he knows what he's up against.
I don't think you know who you're up against.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. Ready? 1. Tell me and.
Yep.
Left or right?
Left, bottom third.
Ooh, excellent. The Act of Supremacy. It was Thomas Cromwell who assisted Henry in passing the momentous laws culminating with the Act of Supremacy in 1534, which served in the English Church from Rome and made Henry its supreme head. Thomas More, as Lord Chancellor, refused to sign the act and was dispatched to the executioner's block, making him a martyr of the Catholic Church, who, for his fidelity to conscience, made him a saint 400 years later. I didn't know that.
Talk about taking their time.
Absolved from papal authority, Henry pressed on with his divorce from Catherine, which was secured in 1533, and implemented a series of measures to limit the power of the church.
I'd forgotten that Cromwell was involved in that, yes.
Yes. I remember watching Tudors with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
I thought you were going to say, I remember watching that happen. I think they were tweeting about it at the time.
Yeah. I used to love learning about, Anne Boleyn and Henry's wives, and that's what happens to be this is the Renaissance period. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So there you guys go.
Well, you learn something new every podcast, I guess, is the new slogan for the show.
Yeah, we're smart here. Opprobrium. Yeah, no, I typed in the right
we do need to do some housekeeping, because we always leave it to the end, and we shouldn't leave it to the end because we have some really, really good news. Firstly, all the new merch is coming out very, very soon. It's out, but it will be shipping very, very soon, in time for Christmas. So the 18th is the deadline from Australia Post, and we'll be good for that. And the first 1,000 orders, including all the ones we've already received, by the way, the first 1,000 orders since the 1st of December this year is going to get a free copy of Hayek for the 21st century. So this is a series, I believe it's 7 of his essays that have been lightly edited, but they are basically just his words. And it's remarkable to see how prescient and how relevant what he's got to say still is. So you're going to get one of these in the first 1,000 orders. We haven't had 1,000 orders yet, so they are still going out. So if you jump on for Christmas, you will get one of these for free in your order. This is actually courtesy of the Mises Institute in the US. They reached out to me and said, hey, we've got 100,000 of these books to give away, and we would like to get some into Australia. I said, I can help you with 1,000. All I've had to pay is the shipping, which was still a couple of bucks per book, unfortunately, because shipping from the US isn't cheap. But I'm very pleased to be able to give them away to the first 1,000 people that order. And also, Carly, you have outdone yourself. These are very pretty stickers.
I wrote a really funny description for the website.
Did you now?
And then I
In
realised
whose opinion?
I was encouraging some civil disobedience that may have been frowned upon.
Oh, no.
So
I would never do such a thing.
do what you will and read between the lines.
With Think Free, too much 1984, not enough 70.
All I'm saying is if you see someone who happens to have like a bit of an inclination to bumper stickers, and that does seem to be a certain crowd of people, what would you're just adding to the value.
I mean, look.
I mean, Black Lives Matter.
Greenies would approve of the idea that good people break bad laws.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you're going to talk about free Palestine, what's better than a bit of 1984?
History, don't make me repeat myself. That's a pretty universal concept.
Yeah.
We might disagree on what that means.
You'd be adding value to them.
Think
I think
free,
they'd appreciate it.
Think Free, pretty universal. Yeah. I would think different things to most of them, but nevertheless, it's a pretty universal concept. I think it's a good little sticker pack collection you got there, Carly.
All right, I'm going to give you a time. You got a minute to explain your good news.
Oh, goodness, I haven't even thought about it. Yikes, a minute to explain my good news. I don't know what my good news is. My good news is that I successfully survived 11 and a half hours behind the wheel and didn't get murdered by my new fandangled car. That's about the best I can come up with at short notice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very unexciting.
Yeah, sorry about that.
My good news is I was on the Life Uncut podcast yesterday.
You can finally tell us who they are. Okay. Was it an ambush? Did they set you up? Were they asking the hard questions?
No, they were
Nothing about your past.
They were so bloody lovely.
Evil con woman from COVID. Any of that?
No, none of that. I'm going to bring up a photo so you guys can see.
I bribed them handsomely. They stiffed me.
These guys were amazing. So I didn't realize, I don't mean to be rude. I know of their podcast.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say, I don't mean to be rude, but it's amazing to be on the set of someone who actually does a really good podcast, unlike you, Topher. That's where I thought that was going.
So this is them. This is Brittany and Keisha.
Yep.
So Brittany was on The Bachelor
a
few seasons ago, and she hosts this with Lauren Byrne on as well, who's married to Maddie J.
Byrne.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And her and Maddie J are like the Bachelor success story. They've got 3 kids now.
Oh, they're on. That's why I know the name. They're on the radio.
Yes. Yes. And Brittany was on the radio as well.
Yeah. Cool.
And then Keisha, who's on the left there, she's the blonde lady. She's the one that reached out to me. And do you know how these guys found me?
I'm going to assume Instagram.
Yeah, my reel's on Instagram.
Yeah, nice.
And they're like, we started following you months ago and we love your stuff and we just had to have you on. So
I keep telling you, you're good at this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were so lovely. It was such a good chat. And because they had a theme and the theme was beauty standards. So we basically talked about my thesis. But it's so weird. So this is a corporate podcast. This is run by, I think it's iHeartRadio or the other one.
It's the podcasting opposite of what we do here.
Yes. And so the building I was in was where Kyle and Jackie O work.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So I was in the Kiss FM building or whatever it is.
Yeah, up in Sydney.
Yeah, so up in Sydney and very professional, can I say? The set was very lovely.
Yes, lovely.
I look around ours and I'm like, oh, we're so povo.
Because we are.
We're so povo, even though this cost a bloody fortune. I'm like,
the gear.
I walked in there and obviously it's not just one podcast studio. They've got suites.
Sure.
And this is where, the Kyle and Jackie O shows filmed and recorded and all that sort of stuff. So they've got sound recording studios, all the things. And I was walking past going, and you walk in, there's soundproofing on all acoustic panels everywhere. Very schmick. So that was fun.
Well, that's what I'm building in Albury.
Yeah.
Bit by bit.
Yeah. It was schmick.
You'll have to move up there.
I will not be.
That's what you say.
I will not be.
That. Yeah.
Until the climate warms so much that the sea comes inland and is now lapping at the shores of Albury.
Well, that's why I bought a house up on a hill. Because I'll be the last one. I'll be the last one to lose my house.
Yeah. So once that happens, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But until such time, no chance. Until you have a helicopter.
So what you're telling me is we're going to have to fly you in and out every single day to do our daily podcast, because that's where we're headed. We're going to end up with a daily podcast. You're just going to be working flat out for 18 hours a day, sleeping for 6.
Yeah, sleep on the plane.
Making me money. That's what it is.
I was watching a Peter McKinnon episode yesterday, and there's this guy who...
What's a Peter McKinnon?
Peter McKinnon's this super well-known photography YouTuber.
Oh, right. Okay,
very successful. 7 million
That's why I don't
subscribers.
know who he is.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, he's the big deal. He's the OG.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, he was out in Canada's so pretty. Every time he'd this is why Peter McKinnon's so successful, because he lives in Canada and he lives where all the beautiful like mountains are. It's just
yeah.
you can't take a shit photo there. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Have you seen Australia's outback? It's so boring.
It's like if you were trying to do the sartorialist, but in Albury, you wouldn't get a lot of traction.
I don't like saying that about our country because there are beautiful spots, but like we were driving down to Golden Beach and it's like cow, random gum tree, dead gum tree, cow, dirt, grass.
Yep.
There's no undulating mountains with like snow caps and.
I will say, coming back in from the Mallee and going around the top end of the Grampians.
Grampians is different.
Some of that's a bit nice,
Grampians
but it's
is pretty
still
amazing.
not. It's still not Swiss Alps or Canadian Rockies or like New Zealand remarkables. We have nothing in that category.
No. But yeah, so Peter McKinnon's friend has helicopters and then he just acquired himself a Black Hawk. And I'm like, now that is baller.
Yeah.
How do I get a Black Hawk?
That's pretty good. Look, helicopters are very expensive per hour to run. Like we're talking, to like $4,000
more than a plane.
Yeah, double or more, and they're a lot slower. So if it's about travel, like helicopters can do things planes can't.
They're just more dynamic.
You can do things planes can't. But if you're actually just trying to get from point A to point B, a helicopter will cost you 4 times as much because it's twice as much per hour and it's half the speed. You can fly for a lot less. But I'm working on my license now, my pilot's license. We'll get an Oddcast aeroplane.
I am more than happy to be the passenger princess.
All right. Well, it'll be little. How do you go with turbulence?
I'm fine.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoy turbulence.
The only struggle is I think men underestimate that women's bladders do require to be emptied more frequently than men.
That's why the window's open.
No, I'll tell this story really quickly and then I promise we'll get into this podcast. G's friend has his own plane. The two of them, one has a private jet and the other one has a really large plane.
Yeah.
When I say large, it looks really large, but it fits 4 people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And they were showing us a shiwi. Have you heard of a shiwi?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a little funnel thing and you just...
I'm familiar with all kinds of things. This is why I'm not worried about two girls, one cup. I'm familiar with a lot of things.
Maybe I'm a prude.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, stories. There's a lot. And I feel like because it's coming into Christmas, a lot is being rammed through and shoved under our faces, hoping that we won't notice because we're a bit tuned out. But I want to start with this Annika Wells stuff. We did talk about Annika Wells.
Annika Wells. Yeah.
We did talk about this a little bit on Monday, but this is like the PR disaster that won't go away. And what I'm looking at here is there has been such a critical opprobrium with the way that she has spent.
I was waiting for you to,
you knew
to pull that out. Well, I thought I was going to get in first, but I was a bit timorous and didn't quite manage to do that.
Yeah, we both did it. Yeah. I had to. It was coming.
Well,
I needed to get off score on the board.
I didn't actually look at the time when we agreed, like when we found
the
words.
I did. I made sure.
I didn't actually know when 10 minutes was up, so I was a bit timorous.
Okay. So I've got a bunch of stuff about this woman. So to be fair, like I know it sounds like we shit on the Labor Party all the time. It's all of them. She's just the scapegoat. She's the current fall guy. This happened to Julie Bishop over the helicopter scandal.
Yep.
This happened to Peter Dutton over like a private luncheon.
Richard Miles.
Yeah, it's happened to all of them.
Yep.
They all do it. They're all guilty of it. She's currently, but I think what's made it so bad for her is the level of contempt she has not only for the journalists, but the people trying to hold her accountable.
I have a different theory on why it's so bad for her, but we can get back to that. Let's do this.
You reckon it's the Labor that got the knives out for her?
No, I reckon it's because 2 days before the news about Annika Wells broke, the news about the E-Safety Commission spending millions of dollars on travel had broken 2 days later, and that had just been picked up by Sky News.
Yeah.
And none of the other networks touched it. And 2 days later, Annika Wells spending scandal everywhere. Yes. That's what I think's going on. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So for those who don't know what happened, she's come under fire for her travel expenditure.
Yeah.
So there was a $94,000 bill to New York for 3 people.
Look, that wouldn't even pay for the private jet. So I think she must have funded the rest of that trip out of her own pocket.
So she came out saying it was business class. And those of us who are well versed with these things, that's not how much business class is.
Okay. But she would probably have staffers traveling
she had
with
3.
her.
It was 3 people.
Yeah.
3 airfares.
Yeah.
So they all have at least flown first class. If not, they've chartered.
Well, it depends on. I know you can't charter to the US for that money. That you'd be paying a lot more than that. But the travel expenses, though, and I'm not defending it, but I'm just trying to make sure that we're being accurate. it does include then the hotels and the transfers and
No.
per
The
diems.
94 was just airfares.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
why
a
it's so
different story then.
outrageous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, sorry, I did have this up. So this is a tweet that she put up. And I just said this to Topher before we started the podcast. Do these guys not go back and go, let's just make sure they can't be clipped later?
Yeah.
So this is from 2021 and the Liberals were still in power. And she wrote, I don't know about you, but I've had a gutful of the Morrison government treating taxpayer money like their own looting, rotting piggy bank. Scandal after scandal, they've learned nothing. And I love this comment from a client of mine, Mark. He's written, or perhaps someone learned something from it. Right?
Yes.
And
that's
so
nice.
we know they all do it. And what I cannot stand is how the smellies, us, the little people, those of us who live in District 12, we get distracted by this. Oh, it's
I thought
terrible.
It was District 9.
No, District 12.
Am I out of
District 9 is the South African
what's District
dystopian
12?
with the aliens. This is District 12's The Hunger Games.
Oh, you know,
coal miners.
my brain never made that connection. I always thought people were just getting District 9 wrong.
No,
Right,
District 9 is a different
okay.
movie.
Yeah,
but District 12 is Tribute.
District 9 was the movie I thought that people were talking
That's
about. But
dystopian
yeah, okay.
aliens living in like a refugee
it's
camp.
modern day Australia. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. That's hence my confusion.
Hollywood always tells us what they're doing in plain
That's
sight.
right. That's right.
And so basically what's happened is this has put everyone under scrutiny. And I said that they're all doing it. This is no secret.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is they've come out saying this is within the rules.
Yes.
I couldn't think of a worse way to address this.
So this is what I've said in a video that's coming out, I think, in 2 days' time. The problem with this is that they haven't broken the rules. Corruption in Australia, we've talked about this before. It's not brown paper bags under the table and duffel bags full of cash in dark alleyways. It's by the letter of the law. It happens in plain sight. It's consultants' fees, it's allowances, and it's getting cushy board positions after you retire out of politics, and it's all completely legal. They don't have to hide it. They can literally just do it in plain sight. Annika Wells is not the exception by any stretch of the imagination. She won't even be the worst. So the E-Safety Commission has spent over $3 million on travel since it was created in 2017. Now you kind of go, okay, they've got multiple staff. That's actually 8 years now. Is that really all that outrageous? Well, get this. 2.4 million of that was on domestic travel.
That's ridiculous.
How do you spend $2.4 million, call it 300 grand a year, on domestic travel as a relatively small government department when, let's not forget, their remit, their workplace is the internet. The furthest they have to travel is to their phone charger. They don't need to be face-to-face. They are the ones who, along with the government, told us that we didn't have to be face-to-face with anyone for 2 years.
Yes.
We said goodbye to grandma via a Zoom call because we were told we didn't have to be in the same room with her.
Yeah.
So don't you dare sit there and tell me that you need to spend $2.4 million on domestic travel for the E-Safety Commissioner and her staff to be able to do what? What exactly does she absolutely 100% need to be somewhere other than where she already is in Australia to do her job as the E-Safety Commissioner?
I want to point out something that I know this is part of it, right? And this is one of the incentives for getting into politics because it's not just the perks on the taxpayer on the taxpayer's dime. It's the influence you're able to accrue with people of higher status that you can be parachuted into afterwards. Correct. So this is what people don't realize. Not only are they paid exorbitant salaries to be senators or in the House of Reps or whatever they are, they also get to go and meet people at the top levels of the banks, in the top of the mining industry, in the top of all of these big lucrative companies where they're then able to get these cushy board positions. They set themselves up for life. Politics is the stepping stone. And this is what fucking frustrates me about people who support the Greens, the Vic Socialists. You don't think they're going to do it too?
Yeah.
Senator Hanson Young, Payman, I've got all their figures in front of me. I'll go through it in a sec. They are all doing the exact same thing whilst just distracting you. And I say bread and circus all the time. Oh, look at this little thing over here. Be upset about this, smellies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I'm fighting for you.
I am getting myself set up to be... and it's so ridiculous, and it's taken this to get people riled up because now people are paying $8 for butter and they're having to make a choice between, do I buy Christmas presents or do we pay the electric bill?
Yeah.
You know,
Obviously, you buy the Christmas presents from tofafield.com, just to be clear, in case you were wondering.
so I've got this here. This is an article by the Sydney Morning Herald, and it's the top spending MPs who have spent over $100,000 on family travel. So this isn't just their travel to and from Canberra and whatnot. This is their family, because they do get an allowance.
Reunification stuff, yeah.
Right? So obviously we know her. So data shows that Annika Wells' expenses on family travel came to $43,000, the 28th highest.
So, in other words, there's 27
Who are
MPs
worse.
who have spent more.
Yeah.
Amazing.
To be clear, that's not including her allowance.
Yeah,
her
yeah,
allowance is on top of that. This is just her family.
And can we pause on this for a moment, because I think this is such an important thing. The claim is, politicians, we have to travel for work. Have to. We couldn't possibly do it as a Zoom call. And
Couldn't be an email.
We also need work-life balance, and so we have to bring our families with us from time to time. Like we're going to pick and choose, and we're going to bring our family. And they basically, the taxpayers will pay for them to fly to Europe, and then the family gets unified, and they have a little family holiday while they're over there. Oh, we're just, we were already over there, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, fine, but why is the taxpayer paying for that? I mean, you're only making $260,000 a year as a senator, plus whatever other income your husband or wife earns.
And they're accruing Qantas points too. Don't forget that. They're accruing, and they're their personal points. They get to keep them.
Then you didn't have to pay for your airfare, because that was, let's pretend, legitimately on the taxpayer's purse. Let's assume there was legitimate business that they had to do face-to-face. All you have to do is cover the holiday costs of your family members out of your generous taxpayer-funded salary. That's all you have to do. But apparently, too much. Can't be expected to do that.
Okay, I'm going to have a little rant, because I actually do have some skin in this game. So my dad was a top-level executive for Caterpillar, the mining company, right? He was a top engineer for them. And my whole life, he travelled overseas. He was always in America. He was always in Japan. He was always in Papua New Guinea. Wherever the mining was, that's where my dad was. So much so, and like, this is personal shit, I didn't have a relationship with my father.
Yeah.
When he got home, guess what my dad's company did to help us? Oh, your father's been away for a month. We'll just send him away again. So when it comes to talking about, we need to reunify the family, how come in the private sector we don't get that luxury?
Yeah.
I barely saw my dad through my childhood.
Yeah.
And when he was there, he was tired and grumpy, and then he was on the plane home. Because of my dad's work, he is now one of the platinum permanent, lifelong Qantas frequent flyer people.
Yeah.
And, that was our life. That was the life we lived. But they certainly didn't pay for us to go meet my dad, even if he was away for 6 weeks.
And, again, it's not like they're not getting a decent enough salary.
Yeah.
They can afford some airfares for the family. If they want to piggyback some personal family time onto a taxpayer-funded work trip, I don't have a problem with that in principle, but I have a massive problem with taxpayers having to pay any of those bills.
Yeah, I agree.
That is an absolute rort.
And I mean, I'll give it to the left, because the left is equally outraged about this, as they should be. We should, this is no longer left, right, Liberal, Labor. As taxpayers, as Australian citizens, we should all be, this should unify us. This should bring us all together. Because what they're saying is, hang on a minute, what about all the nurses doing overtime who don't get to tuck their kids in and read the bedtime story? What about all the people who have to travel and go away to do their public service job? They don't get any of those perks. And I totally agree. What about all the policemen and the doctors and all the teachers who are putting in extra hours, and they have to take time away from their kids? They don't get that same luxury.
Yeah. And it's again, you can do what you want with your money. You can pay for the family reunification. That's fine. But you are on a very healthy salary. Don't put this on taxpayers. So this is a bit of a let them eat cake moment.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of a, the out of touch, the detachment is becoming a bit too pronounced. I don't expect that Annika Wells is going to suffer any significant consequences. I know the media are baying for her blood, but the media also know about Richard Marles and about all the others that have spent stupid amounts of money. Do you know much about the Richard Marles one?
Oh,
so,
vaguely.
Deputy Prime Minister. Okay, so legitimately has to travel for that. That is a role. If you're the Foreign Minister, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Defence Minister, Trade Minister, those people are traveling overseas.
You're meeting a lot of dignitaries and all that sort of stuff.
And they need to be face to face. That I can accept. But he spent, I think the number was $2.1 million on VIP transport. That means an RAAF passenger plane picking him up and dropping him off. 70 trips were to or from Avalon Airport. Now he lives in Geelong. So he's saving himself the commute. Instead of taking a first class or business class seat on a Qantas plane from Tullamarine, he's going from Avalon, which is, 45 minutes closer to his house. But now an RAAF plane that costs tens of thousands of dollars per hour of flight time to run is coming in and picking him up. Now, I understand saving time. I pay my dad or my sister to drive me down from Albury to Melbourne when I do this podcast, so I can sit in the back seat and work, because those are 8 hours of driving time I can't afford to lose on a regular basis, right? I completely understand that. But have a little bit of respect for the Australian taxpayer and recognise that a $300 an hour com car, right, driving you from Geelong up to Tullamarine so that you can sit in the extended wheelbase with an antenna and all the rest of it for all your comms, and you can sit there and do as much work as you want from that back seat, and the extra 45 minutes each way is not going to hurt your productivity. Like, have a little bit of respect. Don't take the $10,000 an hour option. Take the $300 an hour option.
One of the expenses Annika Wells has come under fire for was that she had a car waiting for her while she was at the tennis for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally ivory tower shit.
Yeah.
Not only, like, okay, it's in the rules, but how rude.
Yeah.
How disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Smelly, you sit there in the car, wait for me because I'm important. I don't know if you know this. I'm important.
Yeah.
I'm an MP.
Look,
That's what it says to me.
I don't have an issue with a billionaire who's spending their own money saying to their driver,
yeah, this is my point. People get
right?
upset about Adrian Portelli.
Yeah.
How dare he fly private? It's his money. What are you worried about?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have an issue with people paying for those things for convenience. I pay my dad for my convenience so that I can get more work done on my sister, whoever it is on any given week to drive me. That's a choice that I make because I've decided on balance that I'm better off doing it that way. All right. And they've decided on balance that they want to take the handful of dollars and drive me. That's better off for them. Everyone's happy. The free trade, right? But as soon as it's government money, there's no choice involved for the people paying.
Yeah.
We didn't actually get to decide that was good value.
Well, the taxpayer doesn't sign off on these things.
Yeah.
They make the rules for them.
Yeah.
We elect them.
Yeah.
But once they're elected, they do what they want. There's no checks and balances. Like, if it's our money or the public credit card, we should at least get to determine whether or not we agree with it.
Yeah.
We don't get to vote on this stuff.
I think one of the first things we need to do is, number one, put an end to everything that isn't very clearly directly related to the work of
There should be caps.
The politician.
There should be caps.
But different roles are going to be different. So if you give the same cap to a bunch of different ministers, some of them will go, oh, I can do more than what I was doing.
Well, no,
and
with
others
those
aren't gonna have
caps,
enough.
you have them low, and then there's special allowances should this arise and you need this. Yep, no worries. So, it's the same with the $96 million that went to the bomb website, right? Like in a corporate setting, you would have a budget. The accountant the accountant department goes, all right, per annum we're spending around this. So next year's budget, we anticipate it's gonna be around this.
Yeah.
But then this extraordinary thing pops up and they go, no dramas. We're going to allow an extra little bit of expenditure here.
Yeah.
That's on the books. It's all cool.
Yeah.
And then there's months where it's like, actually, we're not spending so much. That's great. No worries. But we know next year we sort of fluctuated.
Yeah.
Any accountant can do this. This is basic shit. This is just cash flow management.
And in the case of the $96 million Bureau of Meteorology website, someone kept paying the invoices. There was money in a bank account.
No, not
Someone
only
just
that.
kept on.
Who's the project manager? Who's in control of going, all right, we're going to go out to these firms who all put in their tender and they're all saying it's going to cost a couple of $1 million. Cool, no worries. All right, so we're going to set aside in our budget a couple of $1 million. Hey, there's been this really ridiculous extenuating circumstance, weird little bug thing. It's an extra $100,000. No worries, just hold that. Let us have a chat. Can we do the extra $100,000?
Yeah.
Ooh, we're getting close. We can do 80. What can you do with 80?
The other 20 is going to come out of your salary. A bit of accountability at that personal level. But I think fundamentally, coming back to the travel side of things, we have to actually have someone holding the budget that is willing to look a politician in the eye and go, dude, that sounds like it could be an email. I'm pretty sure you could do that over Zoom.
Well, no, the issue is most of these people in Parliament have never worked a real job.
Yeah.
They have never been in the private sector. They've never had a business of their own.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, as someone so I was saying to G, when I had 2159, I was on a plane probably once a week.
Yeah.
I was either in Sydney, Brisbane, Perth. I was doing crazy hours in the plane.
Sure.
And I was a platinum member at Virgin. And you get to a point where you have like a bit of a routine. I used to park at Andrews Airport parking. They'd drive me to the airport and I'd sit in the lounge and I'd be doing work and then I'd fly and blah, 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 blah. I had, a deal lined up with Hertz. I had a deal lined up with the Accor properties. And that's like, and because it was such an expense of the business, I had to make sure it was like not just leaking cash.
Yeah.
Because, for example, back then you could go to Perth for a couple of $1,000s. Now it's like, half of
Half a million?
well, I was going to say half of 10 grand,
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah.
And, so I was always looking at points. And because I was accruing points, I was like, oh, great, I can do that trip to Sydney on points.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the balance sheet of my company and seeing what was coming in and out of the bank accounts and going, ooh, that's going to be a push. The government doesn't do that. They're like, yeah, of course we can.
Yeah.
No dramas.
Well, this is that thing about you can spend your own money or you can spend someone else's money, and you can spend money on yourself or on someone else. And that creates 4 possible scenarios. In your situation, you were spending your money on yourself. So you're worried about getting value because you want to spend as little as possible, but you're also worried about the quality and the effect, and is this actually necessary? But if you're spending your own money on someone else, like a present for Christmas, you're less worried about the long term. You're less worried about, is this actually good? Is it whatever? You're just worried about the price. If you're spending someone else's money on yourself, right? I get to travel. I can do all these things. Well, yeah, you're going to find ways to get the best possible outcome, and you're not really going to care what it costs. And that's the situation that we create when we say, politicians, you have these entitlements. You're entitled to travel allowances. You're entitled to family reunification. You're entitled. The incentive is I get to spend somebody else's money, but I get to enjoy the outcome. So I'm going to now focus on getting the best possible outcome and not really care at all what it costs.
I'm going to play you something by Albanese in a second, but there's a comment he makes in there going, it's an independent body that does this. We don't set it. And it was the same when the pollies all got their pay rises during COVID and everyone was up in arms. We don't determine it. Well, whoever this independent body is needs to be pulled back in line and said, hey, no more pay rises for politicians, because you know whose pays aren't increasing? Ours.
Independent is a lie. Independent is something that politicians love to claim. If the people on that committee are appointed by the politicians or are appointed by people who are appointed by the politicians, it is not independent.
Yeah.
Right? If we voted directly for the Remuneration Commission as Australians, if that was a democratically elected position, then they could say it's independent.
Yeah.
But it's not. The people on that very cushy position, getting that money to do that job, are appointed by politicians. And this is true of all of these independent bodies. Either they're appointed directly by politicians or they're appointed by people who are appointed by politicians.
Yeah.
And in either case, if they start telling politicians what the politicians don't want to hear, they're going to lose that cushy position.
See you later. Yeah, exactly. So everyone's favourite, Afghani immigrant who's now a sitting senator for the Greens. Of course, she's at the top. She's one of the top spenders.
Yep.
Over $100,000 to her family.
Like Afghanis live in sort of larger family groups. Like it's, I don't know how many sort of husbands and then the husband's other wives and all kinds of things could be involved. I don't know. I mean, you can't judge the cultural. I mean, probably half of Afghanistan's on the list of members of her family.
This woman will sit there and grandstand in Parliament at the way that we live and, how racist and how terrible we all are. But she's more than happy. It's the same as Lydia Thorpe.
Yep.
More than you hate the crown,
Yep.
you hate the colonizers,
Yep.
but you'll take that colonizer
That's
money.
Right. We're so racist that we elected you, we pay you handsomely, and then you get all these kinds of benefits that the people who elected you don't get, by the way.
Yeah, so if we have a look at here, so she's over $100,000. The Nationals guy spent the most.
Yep.
Had the figures here. Where is it? So Andrew Wilcox charged the most of all MPs with a bill of $123,769.
Not to defend it, but is he WA?
I'm not
actually
too sure.
I'm not sure in his case. I will say, country. So it's not surprising that a Nationals has spent the most. Remoteness does play a part here.
Yeah.
Now, 100 grand still a lot of money, and that's on family reunion. Like again, I have an issue with the existence of the family travel allowances to begin with. But it's not surprising that someone in a remote area would have spent more than someone who's not.
Someone's written here, why start with a picture of Senator Payman? She's not an MP and not on the list.
What? She's not an MP.
She
is a member of Parliament. She's a member of the Senate.
Yeah. I'm like, are you retarded?
Which is Parliament. I mean, yeah. Okay.
The reason I read the comments is I look at this. I'm like, these are the people who vote, guys. This is why I worry about the comments. These are the people who vote. And surprisingly, Chris Bowen and Katie Gallagher have not spent any money on the family allowance.
Well, good on them. And that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. Good on them. Credit where it's due.
But now I want to play. Sorry, I've got a million tabs up here. No. Okay. I want to play this and just firstly watch her cavalier answer. So let me start this again. Hang on.
For airfares, over $94,000.
I've answered your question.
It's been revealed your recent trip to New York to spruik this ban cost more than $100,000. For yourself and 2 staffers, airfares cost $94,800. Accommodation cost just under $12,000 and ground transport cost around $4,000 USD. How do you justify spending this amount of taxpayers' dollars?
Well, the reason you know all those things is because we're transparent about them, and we will disclose them, and we'll continue to disclose information about that trip through the usual processes.
Were they first-class flights? And given the government's kind of sensitivity to cost of living issues, do you think it passes the pub test?
No, they weren't first-class flights.
Was it a last-minute fare? Is that why it was so expensive? Was it a last-minute decision to go?
Well, it's a matter of public record that I delayed my departure because of the Optus outages, so I wouldn't be able to give you a definitive answer, Tom.
Authorised by Ahurst Liberal, Canberra.
So her attitude there, I've answered the question. How, like, you're being caught out, at least have some friggin' grace.
So, look, it's an interesting one. And you sit there and go, well, yeah, $94,000 for 3 people, that is an absolute truckload of money. But I want to come back to the question of, why are taxpayers paying for our communications minister to go and tell other people in foreign countries about what a great job she's doing as a communications minister? How is that helping us? How is that value for money? If she wants to pick up the phone and say, hey, will President Trump take a call so I can tell him how great I am? Go for it. Go for your life. You know what?
Let me send you an email.
We can pay international call rates.
Or,
I'm okay
I don't
with
know,
that.
there's a foreign concept. None of you guys would have heard of it, but I'm going to break it here for you on the podcast. We have got this amazing resource. You may not be familiar with it.
Fax machines.
It's called social media. And I don't know if you know this. You can put up a really pretty looking press release on the internet and other people on the other side of the world, they can look at it.
But I've just...
Groundbreaking.
I've spied a problem. The under 16 social media ban, the algorithm targets people who are intellectually under 16 because that's what dictates their behavior. And therefore, globally, all the politicians that our politicians would want to talk to have been removed.
You do make a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stand corrected on that.
But this is the thing. We can argue all we want over $94,000 for airfares. Why was she going?
$12,000 on accommodation. Where were you staying?
But forget the detail of what was the airfare, what was the hotel, why the ground. No. Why did you leave Australia's shores in the first place?
Because
explain to me.
It was in the rules.
It clearly was, and this is the problem. But explain to me the mission that could not be done any other way, that had so much value for the Australian taxpayer, not for your career, Annika Wells, not for your, this is what you were talking about before, not for feathering your nest and meeting those people and preparing yourself for your post-politics career, because that is what most of them are doing now. I think Kevin Rudd was one of the first. Malcolm Turnbull was just as bad, but now it's just normal. All of them are just in there to feather their nest for their post-politics career. That's what most of these trips are about. And I think we have to cut this off at the root and just say, if it can be done any other way, the only way that we will accept it having to be face-to-face is if it is defence, trade, or Prime Minister or Deputy Prime Minister. We'll accept that. We'll accept obviously diplomats needing to be face to face in the countries where they are the diplomat too. Outside of that, big international conferences where you can get a bunch of people all at one time. We'll accept that. Anything outside of that, you have to justify, and I mean really seriously justify. Why can't this be a phone call?
There's a couple of things. I'm going to play Albanese's response in a second because it's really important. But at the same time this is all happening, Jim Chalmers is coming out saying that he's not going to extend the energy bill relief, knowing full well that they've doubled down on renewables. And ever since they've gone full green, our utilities have gone through the roof. This is whilst inflation is high, whilst the rates aren't being cut. People are being taxed to oblivion. They're in the States. They've upped the land tax, which is then flowing on to rentals. They're bringing more and more people into the country, which puts a strain on our resources. Everything is going up. And they have the gall to get up there and say, we don't have enough money to be able to pay for you to have energy relief. But don't worry, I'm going to New York and I'm spending 94K on 3 people to fly. I'm sorry. I am a capitalist. I am pro free market. This is corruption. This is disgusting.
Well, I don't support government energy bill relief. I don't want middle class
I don't
welfare
either.
and the churn that
I
comes
get
with
that.
it. I just want the bills to come down.
But the reason they're doing the energy bill relief is because they're like, well, we're going into renewables. We're going to help
'cause they've
offset
screwed
it,
us. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they're openly admitting they have no money. This government is broke. Do you know why it's broke? Because you spend money like you can just pull it out of thin air, and I know they do, which is why we have inflation.
That's exactly
I get
right.
that, but I'm pulling in all the things that have recently popped up, and I know it's state and federal, but Victoria, we wasted $13 million on machete bins that are going to the scrap heap. They lasted 2 months? $13 million down the drain.
They should do it like ships where they cut them up and make like razor blades and like knives and machetes out of the metal from the bins. I think that'd be great.
I cannot drive this point home clear enough. This is insulting to your intelligence. If you are not upset by this, why aren't you upset? We're all struggling. Every single one of us is being hit by this. This is not something that's only affecting a small percentage of people. All of us in the middle class, all of us in the working class, we are all feeling the weight of this. And whilst this guy, the treasurer, comes out and says to us verbatim, we cannot afford to pay for you to have energy bill relief, which is a problem that we made, but don't worry, we are wasting your money on a $96 million website for the bomb. We're wasting it on family expenditure, for travel allowances, for MPs to just rot. And that doesn't include their personal allowances and their overinflated salaries. The reason you and I can't afford to do anything is because of these people. And until we realize that each other aren't the enemy, it's not, oh, you're a lefty, I'm a right wing. It's not that. We are all on the same side. It's the government. It's these MPs who get away with it because we're too busy squabbling over fucking bullshit that's happening offshore that it doesn't impact us. And not to minimize, humanitarian crises and global conflicts. Yes, terrible people are dying. We got problems right here. But whilst you're distracted by what's going on in Palestine, and you're like, oh, we got to do something, which, by the way, your protests have done nothing to fix. You've been protesting for 2 years, and meanwhile, this shit's going on in your country, and you don't even get up to fucking say anything. Where are the protests? If you can protest every week, every weekend, and carry on like you have for Palestine, whether or not you feel like it was the right thing to do, I'm not saying you shouldn't have done it. If you've got the energy to do that, knowing it has no bearing on what happens with that conflict, but you can't get up your ass to go out and protest about this, we're fucked.
You feel better now?
Yes. Yes. I could not have done that on that podcast yesterday. We're never going to get advertisers.
No, this is why other podcasts are financially successful and then there's us.
Do you know what though? I will say this just as a little tangent because we didn't tangent last week.
Tangent time, tangent time, tangent time, tangent time.
We've got to do 2 because we didn't do it last week, and we upset people when we don't.
I'm sorry.
So on that podcast, lovely people, really enjoyed it, great chat, but I see why we're not having these difficult conversations, right? So often I get some criticism from people on YouTube for being too emotional.
On the yub-tubs.
Yeah.
I see.
Too emotional, can't stand this woman.
Why
she
can't
rants.
you be more like AI?
Right.
That's what I want to know.
She's too emotional, she rants, whatever. Okay, fine. You can say that. That's fine. What would you have me do? Sit here and go, oh, it's not very good, is it? Oh, it's not good.
It's not ideal.
It's not great. Oh, yeah, more corruption. Oh, I can't afford to pay my electricity bill, but whoopsie daisies. The reason podcasts like this need to exist, right, is because we aren't allowed to have these conversations in the mainstream. They're certainly not having them.
Yeah.
And I get fired up, I get ranty, I'm not professional, I understand all that. But these are the conversations we should all be having. We're just
100%.
happening to film it.
100%. And this is the thing. If we just wanted to grow, if I had just wanted audience, I wouldn't have become a political commentator in Australia. I certainly wouldn't have become a libertarian political commentator, a niche within a niche. Like I am, my entire target audience in Australia is maybe 2%, maybe 2% of the population, if I'm lucky. And that's the pool that I decided to play in, right? I could have done any one of a number of other things, gone for entertainment, gone for pop culture stuff, or just gone for a political niche that was infinitely bigger. Be a socialist, be a purple pingers, right? Be a friendly Geordies, right? Just do all the union talking points, right? I could have taken any of those options if that's what it was about for me. And this is the tension now, is to say, well, now this is getting bigger. I've got a team to pay, and you know, I need to look at the business side of it. I can't ignore it anymore. I used to. I ignored it for 15 years.
Yeah.
Now I have to actually pay attention to it.
You got to pay my bills, man, and my bills are expensive.
Tell me about it. Especially since you saw the cost of that bomb website. Far out. Now your invoices are a bomb. But I also have to be true to what it is that makes what I do. Yeah. Because when I look around, you're absolutely right. I could have advertisers. I just have to moderate. You know, not
we
quite
couldn't say half
the
of what
thing,
we say.
Not, you know, just change how I say it, change which topics I choose, and then I can have the advertisers, and I'll always be walking on tenterhooks because by the time once you get the advertisers, now you spend a bit more because your team gets bigger. Now you need the advertisers, otherwise you're going backwards financially. Now when one of them calls you up and says, "I wasn't really happy about that," all of a sudden, oh no, and no, you're no longer focused on saying what's true. Yeah, you're no longer focused on saying what's true and trying to make a difference and move the needle. You're focused on what are my advertisers going to think, and it's a really dangerous. I'm not saying I'll never have advertisers. I haven't had them up to this point in time.
So long as you have a brave one who's accepting the risk.
It's got to be, the minute there is any suggestion from them that they want to have any level of editorial influence or control, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll pull the pin before they do.
That was one thing I did feel yesterday. Like, again, you know, this is not to shame that podcast. They're wonderful. But I realize there are so many parameters and so many checks that have to happen before that podcast goes live. And
same as radio. Because they are essentially just an internet radio show.
And whilst it was very schmick and everything was cool and those girls are making serious coin, fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, this is in a spare bedroom in my house with equipment I have from my photography company.
Well, plus a bit more.
And a little bit more. And so, you know, yes, it's a little bit warts and all, but we also have the luxury to have the conversations that all of us will be having at our kitchen tables. Well, I hope we're having at our kitchen tables.
We can say what we actually believe.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, and I know I've said this before, there is no way you and I could have these discussions if it was timed to 45 minutes.
No.
By the time we get to the depth and start digging through the dirt, and, you know, I'm always conscious that someone's going to grab our podcast, clip it, and then be like, she said this.
Oh, yeah, and they will.
Doesn't
matter how much you try and avoid it, they will.
The thing about a 3-hour podcast is you and I are volleying, back and forth. And I might switch my position, and you might bring up a story I've thought nothing about, and then at the end of this conversation, I've got a little bit more context. I'm like, okay, I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah. That's healthy. That's normal. We're discouraged from that.
All right, we're 1 hour in. Do you want me to?
That was my tangent.
Do you want me to kick off, or
no?
Or have you got another one?
I've got another one. So I need you to watch Anthony Albanese. So this is to round out the spending. Okay, so let me pull this up.
This is a text line to the viewers of this show, and I can tell you what they're saying. They're not gender specific. They're saying, my husband's a truck driver. He's away all the time. I don't get flown to see him. I'm a nurse with New South Wales Health. That Comcar bill for $1,000 to wait 8-10 hours, that's my weekly wage that I take home. I'm a pensioner. I can't afford heating and cooling, and I'm looking at these politicians and it's disgusting. What about the Army, the Navy and the Air Force? They all work away from home for months. Politicians are not special. This is a quote. I don't want to hear that this spending is within the rules. It's common sense. It's too much money.
I understand that that's the case.
Should the rules change?
And whenever, the rules are not, I haven't set the rules.
But you have an opinion, you're the head guy.
We have an independent, one of the things that's really important. The REM Tribunal, something at arm's length, sets my salary and the salary of politicians. The Independent Parliamentary Expenses Authority was set up by the former government to examine things independently at arm's length. I don't want to be the arbiter of what my colleagues across the parliament, across political parties, this isn't one person, this isn't one...
Will you promise to look at it, poly spending?
We always look at measures,
and you don't change
the
anything.
Independent Parliamentary Expenses Authority examine these things on a consistent basis, and they will continue to do so.
And if they want to stick with the 3 business class airfares, that every MP gets to fly their family around, you're okay with that?
No, what I'm okay with is it being at arm's length from me. I don't want to be the arbiter
The guy who dobs everyone in.
any more than that. Then you get to
I
decide
can't take
Chervay's salary or what his conditions are, or vice
Except the
versa.
taxpayers aren't paying for us.
That-
Not what this phone is.
Okay.
So do you see the instant deflection? Oh, you don't get to determine.
Yeah, that's right.
This is like everyone needs to watch this. Again, it's not Liberal, it's not Labor. These are the people who look at us with such contempt. They don't give a fuck. Every time he gets up and says, I feel the struggles of the Australian people. No,
My
you
mum
do
was
not.
a shingle mum.
You could change this instantly.
Yeah.
He is the Prime Minister.
Yep.
It is within his power to go, that's it, family expenses out the door.
Yeah.
We don't have a budget for this. You know why he won't do it? Because all of his MPs benefit off it.
And
so does he.
He'll be unpopular.
Yeah.
It'll increase the chances of him getting stabbed in the back
Yeah.
by the Labor Party at some point in time. But also, if you take the feed out of the trough, you're also hurting your post-politics life, right? So the ones that play the game are the ones that get rewarded afterwards. The ones that hand out the big contracts to the defence firms and to the IT contracts and this and that, they get the board positions on those companies. They get looked after afterwards. And there's a certain amount of honour among thieves, so to speak. It's kind of like, I don't like him, but we're going to find room for him because he did the right thing. And we have to send a signal to the person who's now making those decisions, look after us and we'll look after you. So we have to look after this guy even if we hate his guts, right? But if you take that feed out of the trough and you start to pull that, you know, the piggies start squealing, well, then you will put yourself in a position where there won't be any room for you. Oh, no, our board's full.
Yeah. I'm so angry. Okay, can I show you something funny?
Okay.
All right. So are you familiar with the band Garbage?
I know the name, yes.
So Shirley Manson, lead singer of Garbage, big band.
Related to Marilyn or?
No,
Okay.
no.
Different thing, yep.
Different. She's Scottish, but big band in the 90s. Anyone who doesn't know who Garbage were, they
I'm
were
sure
huge.
I've heard some of their songs, but I couldn't tell you which ones are which.
So she was headlining a music festival in Melbourne, Good Vibes Festival. And this is how out of touch these people are with, like, celebrities are with the regular people. So, you know, Australians love a good music festival, right? That's kind of our thing.
Right.
I don't go to them anymore because they're just too expensive and I don't like any of the headliners. But anyway, so Good Vibes Festival, I believe it was $300 a ticket. And Garbage were one of the headliners. So you can imagine people going to that would be Garbage fans.
You'd assume, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to play you a clip of Shirley, and I just want to make sure I get the right one because there's two I need to play. So when she goes off. Okay. Is it this one? Yes, this one. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Garbage. A festival like this, like, it literally makes me want to fucking beg people to go over there and punch you in the face. Oh, you're getting rid of the balloon now? Yeah, you big fucking dudes. Wow, oh my god.
Wait, a balloon?
So
That's why she said that?
Beach ball.
It's just so fucking outrageously cool. I can't get over it. Wow. It's disrespectful, and musicians have had enough. And we're fed up of not getting fucking paid properly. And fed up of having to play for douchebags like you. You're a fucking middle-aged man in a fucking ridiculous hat. And you're a fucking fuckface. And I literally want to fucking ask people to punch you in the fucking face. But you know what? I'm a lady, so I won't. But if truly...
So she stopped her set.
I'd love to send my crew over to fucking mess you up, but you know what? I won't, because I pity you, because you're a small man with a small dick.
Right. That's how she spoke to an audience at a concert for her because he had a beach ball.
Okay, so when you start like having a go at our audience, I just need to call you Shirley. Yeah. And just like...
I say it out of tough love.
Well,
I'm not calling you all small dicks.
Well, look, maybe you don't use the words. Okay, I mean, that's ridiculous. You stop your set to wow. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
this
all right.
keeps going. So she's put out a statement on X I make no apologies whatsoever for getting annoyed at beach balls at shows. I joined a band because I hated the fucking beach. I joined a band because I wanted to listen to I don't know what's that. Susie and the Banshees and The Cure and be dark and beautiful. Continue listening to Spotify and toss your stupid beach balls around like you're 10 years old. I love the music community and I want to respect their artistry. I'm so tired of folks taking music for free and treating us like circus performers.
Okay, so again, she brings up the money. Like this, she's just entitled.
She'd be worth. I actually need to check
She would have
this.
to have made a lot of money over the years.
Because she was there when it was big.
Yeah.
Shirley Manson net worth. What does it say?
But to make it about the money at all, even if you haven't made a lot of money, to make that about money, it's got nothing to do with it.
They're saying an estimation she'd be worth 20 million US.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not getting paid enough.
Yeah.
Bitch, sit down.
But also, what's that got to do with someone hitting a beach ball around at a
festival called Good Vibes?
Yeah.
Called Good Vibes,
She did
right?
not bring the good vibes.
No.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like she's had huge backlash.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Rightly so.
I don't know if you noticed this.
Well, she looks charming.
She's aged poorly, old Shirley, and she looks like a bitter old woman. Did you notice?
She didn't sound like a bitter old woman, though. I didn't get that vibe at all from that little rant.
No. Did you notice what she was wearing?
It looked like a green and white and red scarf thing tied around
Yes,
her.
very Palestine.
Because she's all about love and acceptance and everyone, having the ability to express themselves, just not with beach balls.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
as you can imagine, this has gone down terribly. And people are
Can't think why.
pretty upset about this. I'm just
Right.
trying to find the response. So then what happens is she's travelled to Brisbane.
Right.
And Aussies...
Australia. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aussies, we don't like being spoken to like that.
Yeah, that does kind of rub us up the wrong way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really good way to get people pissed off. So this is Brisbane's response. Oh, shit.
Oh, yes.
Beach balls.
Oh,
Everywhere.
yes.
Hundreds
well
of them.
done, Australia.
I've never been prouder.
That is, the Australian spirit is not dead
Here
yet.
we go.
We are not dead yet.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I can't play the
How
music
did
because it's
she respond?
well, that's what I'm going to say. So, okay, so here we are, Brisbane,
That's
hanging
so
out with the beach
good.
balls. Well done, Brisbane. Freaking well done.
For those that are listening to the podcast, there is a sea of beach balls being gleefully bashed around from person to person, as beach balls should be in any crowd situation. There's got to be a couple of dozen, because we're only seeing a part of the picture, but there's balls bouncing in and then back out. There's got to be a couple of dozen.
Oh, there was a lot, and I've got so many clips, I won't play them all, but there was a band that also came on, and they brought the audience up, and the audience had like 3 beach balls each and was throwing them out into the crowd. I don't know if they were before or after
okay,
garbage,
okay.
but this is her response, okay? All right.
Kind of shocks me a little is that there's been more fuss made about me offending beach balls than there has about 20,000 Palestinian kids who are now fucking under the dirt. So the only thing that kind of...
She thinks that no fuss has been made about Palestine?
Yeah, so essentially, rather than apologising for being a raging cunt,
Yeah.
she doubles down and then turns it into frickin' Palestine.
But this is that basket of goods thing. This is that virtuous corruption thing that we touch on from time to time. It's worth touching on it again. She's saying this thing over here is so evil and I'm on the right side of that. Therefore, I can be an absolute cunt
Yes.
if I want to be. I'm still right because I'm right about this.
Yeah.
I'm still right because I'm a victim because I'm not being paid as much as I should be. So I'm allowed to be an absolute asshole to you and treat people in ways that no one really should be treated. But I'm still right. I'm still virtuous because I'm on the right side of this issue over here. Virtuous corruption. I'm on the right side here, therefore I can do whatever I want over here.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty disgusting, to be
hilarious.
honest. But I just was like, I was so proud of Aussies.
Australia doesn't make me proud very often anymore, but that moment.
I was like, we've still got it.
We've still got it. It's still in there somewhere. Still in there somewhere.
All right. What
Getting
do you
beaten
want to
out of us.
What do you want to talk about next?
Oh, goodness. Okay, so there's a couple of... I had a list here. I'm going to have to unlock my phone again.
I've got hundreds, so...
Okay, so we need to get to the social media ban.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, and Anthony Albanese and Julie Inman Grant warning that they're in it for the long game.
Yes. Sorry, go. No.
Well,
go.
predictably, teenagers have already found their way around
Yes.
these bans. Did you know that you can lie about your age when you sign up for an account?
Did you know
I
that you
had
can
no
just
idea.
upload a photo of a golden retriever and it will still get approved?
No. Oh, goodness me. Did you know that there are lots of parents out there helping their kids?
Yes.
Because here's the interesting thing. So I saw it. I didn't actually send you the screenshot. There was a screenshot of someone who reached out on one of these platforms or other for help, saying, my kid lied about their age and replaced their account on whichever one of the platforms it was. How do I dob them in? Right, and then it was sent off to a ask questions page for a journalist, and the journalist replied and said, I've spent time searching now to try and answer your question and give you a link, and I can't find where you should dob them in.
Yeah.
Right, and so here is a parent and a journalist, both presumably adults, conspiring to try and force the parent's child to, govern me harder, daddy, do what you're supposed to do. Here's the thing: if you as a parent help your child, betray your child and stop them from getting around this ban, do you think they're going to stop, or do you think they're going to do it again and make sure you don't find out about it?
I'll give you an
which
example.
Which of those options is going to happen?
Alcohol is illegal for people under 18. Yet, who is a big consumer of alcohol at parties?
76-year-old Baptist ladies.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You can't have that. That's going to stop me. Do you know what else? I'll give you another example. Quite niche. Quite niche. You know what else is illegal? Knives and machetes.
No, really?
And would you believe, I know, crazy, but would you believe that 14 and 15-year-olds, and some as young as 12, are running around ransacking houses with those machetes?
What?
Crazy.
But they had bins
But
and
they're
everything.
banned.
They had bins.
I know. Who could have thunk it?
That is outrageous.
Outrageous.
However, the Prime Minister and the E-Safety Commissioner, Julian Grant, who are clearly too old to understand the internet.
Or children.
Have come out and said that we're playing the long game. We're in it for the long game. Well, Julian Grant is not renewing her contract next year. So long in the sense of 6 months.
Yep.
And then she's out of here before the dumpster fire consumes her as well.
I'm sure she's got her next job lined up, has she?
She 100%. Well, she's been 10 years in that role, and she has done very, very well out of it. She will have been 10 years by the time she's done. She's done very, very well out of it, and I think she's going on to sort of global type things. The whole world is watching the under-16 social media ban. This is the thing. We're the first. We're the guinea pigs again. I hate being first. I'm sick of being first. We're the guinea pigs, and the whole world is watching. And if it sticks here in Australia, the social media companies know that it is going to spread, and that's going to be very, very bad for their business. Not only because of the users that get removed, but because if those users who get removed then go and find a home on, let's say, some unregulated Chinese or Russian or Bolivian, whatever, platform, which they are doing, right?
Yep.
Have a look. The numbers came out. There were record numbers of downloads for a bunch of other platforms that are just simply not being regulated.
Yep.
Where do you think the predators are going right now? Right? And if these kids are now on platforms where their parents aren't, now their parents have even less ability to help their kids if they get
Especially if
into trouble.
they don't understand it. At least with Meta and Instagram, Facebook, they understand
We know how it works. And further, if we push our kids, if parents side with the government and kids are signing up to these alternative platforms without their parents' knowledge, knowing that if their mother found out, she would dob them in and get that account shut down, do you think that they're ever going to get any insight? No, of course not.
No.
Like the government has literally created a predator's playground.
But also, imagine siding with the government over your own child.
It's so
What
absurd.
in the 1984?
So absurd.
It's actually really dystopian when you think about it. But I'm going to dob my child into who? The government.
Yeah.
And further to that, I mean, you think back to I wasn't a particularly naughty teenager.
Yeah.
But I had friends who were very naughty. I remember a girl that I went to school with. Her mum was incredibly strict and very straighty 180.
Yeah.
Her daughter was one of those people that got blackout drunk at every party. She was known for it.
Yeah.
Smoked a pack a day. Her mum was a chain smoker, and she thought her daughter was this pious, perfect, couldn't do wrong. Her daughter was one of the worst, right? Yeah. And so when I say it smoked a pack a day behind the shed, at 14, 15, and when we'd go to parties, I can't even remember what she used to drink. I don't know, Red Bears or something like that. Like pass out drunk. So much so that like when it happened, and my parents never worried about me drinking alcohol. I was so unfazed by it.
Yeah.
But my parents saw it happen to her, and they rang her. Like, I think this was good parenting on my parents' behalf.
Right.
They rang her mum and said, "Your daughter is passed out in our backyard. She is blind drunk. She has smoked an entire pack of cigarettes. And she's lucky she's here. Because if a boy comes near her, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
But what about the parties that we're not here? Do you know this? And it ruined my friendship with her, by the way.
Yeah.
And I was very upset with my parents for ruining my friendship and making everyone think that my parents were dibber-dobbers. But in hindsight, good parenting on my part. They weren't trying to be my friends. And her mum was horrified. No idea.
Did she believe it? Because that'd be the thing. A lot of parents would be like, well, it must be something about your house. This would be the first time she's ever done that.
Yeah, I know there was a follow-up phone call, but like I've said this story before. My dad, you don't fuck around with my dad.
Yeah.
He's a pretty serious person.
Yeah.
I know the conversation was intense, but it was sort of one of those things that I had never thought about it from that point of view before. I would have been like 15, 16. So I was relatively sheltered and innocent. You know, I wasn't exposed to, I didn't think that guys could rape you. That wasn't a thought I had.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't like, oh, you know, if I did something stupid, we were told don't get into vans with strangers with lollies.
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But I wasn't thinking, oh, a teenage boy could do
Yeah,
something
yeah.
they shouldn't.
Yeah.
That wasn't at the forefront of my mind. And obviously my dad is a man and he's like, and I remember once, like, my dad was in a blind rage screaming at me because he was so frustrated and he was saying things like this. And I was just like, never even thought about that.
Yeah.
You know? I don't even know what it's like with parents these days because I know we've seen so many stories about kids swapping nudes at like 10, you know, on Snapchat. So, you know, and I've seen a lot of parents posting about the social media ban saying, we needed it. I'm so glad. And I want to read you some before we talk about it. So this is The Guardian. And this has already had a profound effect. It's been in for 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, can we just tone down this hyperbole? This is so stupid. Oh, you know, it's changed everyone's life in 2 days. Get a grip. All right, these are quotes from parents. Our son no longer has access to his apps, and this has already had a profound effect. This morning, my son said, Mum, do you want to do something with me after school today, like putt-putt or something else? Normally, he'd be consumed by his phone watching mind-numbing videos. I'm sorry, who's the parent?
Yeah, correct.
Who
Correct.
is the parent?
Yeah, talk about a child-centered house.
I'm like, what do you mean he's take the phone off him?
Yeah.
Disconnect it.
Yeah.
Stop the data. Change the Wi-Fi. Like, you have so many things
Yeah.
you could do.
Yeah.
I'm not a parent. I know how you could do this. Another one. I was worried that they would feel like something was taken away from them or they would respond in a negative way, but they've been winding down their social media use even before the ban, so it's nice to have them present in the house again. Again, take the phone off them. My daughter is 6 and she watches YouTube. She's already displaying signs of body issues. What's she fucking watching?
Yeah, correct.
Not wanting to eat, wanting to be beautiful. What is she watching? I wasn't thinking that.
Again, be a parent.
Yeah. My 15-year-old is not fazed and is actually quite relieved, although slightly concerned about how he will meet girls now. He acknowledges that Snapchat in particular is one app that he is secretly glad to be rid of as nothing good happens on there. Again, where is the parent?
Yep. And teach your son agency. See, this is the thing. Even for the ones that are like, oh, you know, this is better now. He could have signed off Snapchat anytime he wanted.
Yeah.
Right. Teaching young people, especially teenagers, to have some agency and to recognize what's healthy for them and what's not. They're a few years away from driving cars, drinking alcohol, having access to their own income. They're living on their own. They're a few years away from making all of these decisions for themselves. We can applaud that, oh, this was a great decision. Well, they didn't make it for themselves, though.
Yeah.
They haven't learned anything about self-control, about self-discipline, about making choices around incentives and what's good for them. They've learned none of that. All we're doing is sheltering them artificially. And honestly, for every one of these sorts of stories, there's going to be a lot of other stories of, well, my kid used to be on Snapchat. Now she's on some other thing I have no idea about, and we don't know who she's talking to, and we don't know who she's, you know, what's going on there. We know nothing about anything now.
My son has lost the ability to generate an income through YouTube. He stopped creating content when he heard YouTube would fall under the ban. It's a shame, as I think he was a really good role model to kids his age and below. Learning about commerce, I think that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
We see this as a lifeline. Our daughter is hopelessly addicted to her phone, and less time on socials and with more meaningful connection has to be a good thing. I'm sorry, I don't have kids.
It's just a bunch of failed parents.
And I'm not allowed to say this because I don't have kids,
Yeah.
but what the fuck are you doing?
You can't say that. You don't have kids.
Yeah, right? Like, but no, seriously,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
When,
I agree.
When you're
I
on
have
the,
kids. I
When you're
agree.
on the couch and your daughter's there, what are you doing? Oh, she's sitting her on her phone. Grab the phone out of her fucking
Yeah.
hand.
Turn off the Wi-Fi. Stop paying for her plan, because I guarantee you she's not paying for it herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I got my first phone. I got a Nokia 3210, and it was back when you got credit, and I'd get $30 of credit, and $30 was a lot back then.
Right.
And I got it once a month, and if I used it all in a week,
That's
stiff
it.
shit.
Yeah.
And so what we
You had to think carefully about every text message.
Yeah. And also you can only store like, I think 10 messages on your phone.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, it didn't have memory. So you could have like 10 messages and then you'd have to
By
delete.
the 3210 they did.
No. I think it was like 10 or 20 text messages and you'd have to delete them to allow the next one to come in. But I remember my mum said to me, she's like, okay, so after 9 o'clock, you can text message for free to other Telstra phones. She's like, ask your friends what. Yeah. But to be honest, we had an MSN.
Yeah.
And we go on to MSN. We weren't using our phones.
But that was using like a computer that was hardwired into the house.
Yeah. And when my dad wanted the computer, guess what?
Yep.
Boom, out you go.
It was in a communal space where someone could walk past and see what was on the screen.
And do you know what my parents used to do as well? Like, I make my parents sound like they were tough, but I mean, I think they were just parents. I've seen way worse and I've seen way easier parents. But my dad would literally walk past the modem and just go, yoink.
Yep.
Computer's done.
Yep.
I told you to go do the dishes. You didn't do it.
Yep.
Yoink.
Yoink, done. Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know why people have seemed to have forgotten that we have agency. You don't need the government to do this.
Yeah. No, indeed. But unfortunately, people have accepted the idea that the government is a parent. The government will decide what kids learn. The government will decide, all kind of what options they have as they go through their educational pathway. The government will decide what university courses they are or are not smart enough for. With the ATAR, the ENTER scores and all that sort of stuff. The government is now the one who determines and dictates all this stuff. And this is where I get theological. In my book, Good Christians Break Bad Laws, we've put government into the position of God. And so much, if you read the Old Testament, God there's a particular type of name, Jehovah, that he gives himself. And he attaches that to a number of other words, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nissi, Jehovah Tzidkenu. There's 7 of them in particular that come up repeatedly, and each of them has a meaning. And Jehovah is kind of the highest, along with Yahweh, is kind of the highest form of God. But these Jehovah names are God literally telling us, this is what I do for you. Yeah. Right? Jehovah Jireh, I will provide. I am your provider. There's ones that mean giver of wisdom, protector, provider, healer, and others. And when you think about it, you say, well, the government now runs our healthcare. We look to the government. Oh, I can't afford the medicine. The government needs to do something. I need this surgery. The government needs. Oh, the wait times are too long. The government, funded healthcare system's failing. We look to the government to be our healer now. Education. Even the private sector education is teaching what the government tells them to teach. Mm-hmm. Most of them are still dependent on government money. They couldn't run without it. When it comes to your wisdom, your life, your decisions, and what you're going to do, the social safety net for when things go wrong, God is your provider. God is there for you. But it's the government now. We've replaced God with the government. And this is just an example of that, where families, fathers, mothers are sitting there going, oh, Thank government instead of thank God. It's like, oh, thank government, you're here.
But also, are these parents predominantly Gen X and millennials? Is that who's sort of the current parenting generation?
I don't know. So kids of that age would be, a lot of the parents would be around my age.
Yeah, so Gen X.
If they'd started younger.
Why are they so soft? Is it because their parents were so tough?
I don't know. I don't think parents are given permission to be parents anymore. I think we are so over-regulated. We are so over-restricted. We have to walk on eggshells around our kids. I mean, if you have a stern conversation with your kid in public now, you're at risk of getting reported. Forget teachers being able to discipline kids at all, and just even control them in any meaningful way. Now, there have been a lot of improvements around other techniques, other ways of getting people's attention and getting their cooperation and so forth. And that's great. But there has to be the other side. There has to be for the kid who, and every kid will do it at some point, but some kids more than others, there has to be the downside. It can't just be all incentives and, we'll be nice and blah, blah. No. There has to be the tough nanny side of things. And we've deprived that. We've denied that. The experiencing of immediate consequences, artificial consequences. Yes, I've given the example before of a road trip where a kid has just gotten strong enough in their hands and figured out how to undo a seatbelt. All right, you're on a long road trip. You're in the middle of nowhere. This kid keeps undoing their seatbelt. You've explained. You've reasoned. You've offered incentives. They're going to keep undoing their seatbelt. Well, now either you're going to drive with the car in an unsafe and illegal condition, for which you as the adult will get punished because you're the one who's meant to be taking care of that. Or you have to figure out a way for this kid to understand, don't touch the damn seatbelt. And sometimes that's going to require the imposition of artificial negative consequences, i.e. smacks, things like that.
Yelling, raising your voice.
And, being grounded, etc., only works up to a point. It's not immediate enough.
Yeah.
Right? There comes a point. And most kids will need that at some... I needed that multiple times in my life.
Do you have the
to pull
dad
me back
growl,
into
or
line.
can you not use it now?
No, I can... I've got that. And my kids are mostly pretty responsive.
Yeah.
They're mostly pretty good. But you look around and you realize when kids don't have that at home, they're not allowed to have it at school. Everything's all soft and nice and everything else. And then any adult that actually holds them to a higher standard is at risk of getting either a valid or invalid accusation to the cops.
But what's worse is if they don't learn this lesson young, they're coming into their adulthood and they're having to learn it there because the real world doesn't care.
Yep.
The real world will just eat you up and spit you out.
The next 10 years will chew you up and spit you out far worse than the last 10 years have.
Well, yes, because we're now coming into an economic crisis and there's going to be job scarcities. You reckon it's bad now?
Yep.
The economy is only going to get worse.
And the return of excellence. We are culturally, we are no longer accepting the totem pole of victim status as your reason for example. Oh, you're such a high status person because you've all these intersections of victims, whatever. No, that's going out the window. What can you do? Can you deliver?
Well, this is what happens when you overplay the victim card. It becomes fatiguing and people get to a point where they just go, you are insufferable.
Yep.
You're a waste of my time. I'm cutting you off. I can't be fucked anymore.
And kids that have been disciplined and grown up with a work ethic and a sense of personal responsibility and taking initiative, etc., that's a superpower now.
I would argue with AI, and I said this in the masterclass for those who did it, those, you take away the Luddite argument for a second. If you are someone who has agency, who understands that if you have initiative and you take it upon yourself to upskill, you will become such a valuable asset to the company that you work for or for yourself in a small business that it is going to be so easy to win. So easy. It's never been easier to stand out now.
Yep.
And sure, it's not fair. There's going to be people who... slide through it, but life isn't fair. We know it's not fair. It
never is. Yep.
And even like now, if you ignore that and just go, life's unfair. That's why I keep working.
Yep.
You can set yourself above, but...
So on that point, there's a valuable point to make there. If I said to someone, you can't save all the poor people, but if you could save one, would that be a good thing? Well, yes, of course. 100%. It is only one person, but that's a person. Okay, so start by saving yourself.
Yeah.
Start by getting yourself off the list of poor people. We can criticize all we want, people that run businesses or what have you, and say, but there's poor people out there. Yes, and I'm the reason I'm not one of them. Right? I saved an entire family. Right? There are 3 kids not growing up in poverty right now. You know why? Because I work my ass off and I make sure they don't grow up in poverty. And we help other people outside of the family, etc. But there is actually no shame in simply being able to say, no, my family, they were given to me. My kids were given to me. They're my primary responsibility. And my kids eat and have clothes and have a roof over their head and get to do fun stuff. And you know why? Because their dad works his ass off.
Can I say the second tangent of the podcast?
Okay. Tangent time. Everybody now, tangent time. All right. What do you got? You've got rattly rings is what you've got.
I was jiggling. Okay, so just...
Please don't say that again.
Okay, ew. Contrast to that masterclass that I just did,
Yes.
there was over 300 and something people that signed up for it, which was amazing.
Yep.
And I knew that not everyone could come to that night time.
Sure.
That's totally fine because not everyone has the same schedule. And so as soon as I could, I sent out the immediate replay. You can watch it.
Yep.
I gave them the slides and I'm working on the ebook that will be coming shortly.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I made it $99 because if it's too cheap, people firstly probably won't show up, but also they don't value it.
Yep.
$99, you would spend that if you saw value in it and you're like, okay, I'm going to invest. Anyway, sure enough, before they had bought it, I had people going, $99 is too expensive. And I said, then it's not for you. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'd love to learn this. I'm like, well, at the moment, you have a whole host of free resources on YouTube.
Correct.
And if you're not doing that,
Yep.
then this is not for you.
Yep.
And they've sort of taken, I'm quite blunt with people these days. A bit of tough love.
Yep.
Don't come to me with your, I don't care. And then of the people who paid, I send out emails, right? And so I use a email management software and I can see if people have opened it
Yep.
and if people have watched it and clicked on it. And so I sent it out to everyone, and I noticed that half those emails, even like they paid for it, haven't been opened. And so I feel terrible. I'm like, oh God, it might be in their junk folder, whatever. So I resend the email, and, you know, through my correspondence, I say, guys, if you haven't got the email, please let me know, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the other day I had someone reach out to me going, oh, I haven't got it. Like, where is it? And I said, you've been sent 3 emails now.
Yeah.
She goes, I haven't got those emails. And I was like, okay, well, it could be in your junk, could be in spam.
Promotions. I hate the promotions folder.
Yeah. And I also said, you know, like, let's just double check. Give me your email. This person had entered the wrong email. So I had sent the emails. She'd spelled her email address wrong. Okay. So you've come at me going, rah, 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 rah. Again, agency. It's your email, honey. If you enter it wrong, it's in my. But worse than that. Oh, you know, where's the ebook? Oh, it's coming, and I said that very clearly. It's going to take a little bit longer. Oh, well, I need the ebook, and I said, okay, well, you've got the slides, you've got the full thing. Oh, I don't have time to watch it. Then why did you buy it? Why did you buy it? Like, so these are and the reason I'm not trying to shame people. I think it's great that people support it. I'm very happy for that. But my point is, I can't make it much easier for you. If you don't recognize that it's on you to firstly watch it and to show up.
You're not the idiot whisperer.
What do you want me to do?
This is the thing, you know, the horse whisperers that can, you know, whisper to a horse and have it transform its mind. You're not the idiot whisperer. You can't help people who can't help themselves. I did the masterclass. I was there live. I stopped when the Q&A started, but I watched the whole thing up to that point. And I found it really, really valuable. And anyone that signed up for it, if it's sitting there in your inbox, make the time to actually just watch it. And if you haven't, can people still get on it?
It's still available.
Yeah, so
it's on my website, carlsjsoda.com.
carlsjsoda.com.
That's my
I thought it was really, really valuable. And what it did for me was it gave me a context of the landscape of, like, there's all these AIs out there and what does it mean? And I didn't realize that there were AIs that were sub-aggregating other AIs. And understanding that suddenly simplified the landscape a lot for me.
The aggregators are the best tools you've got.
Yeah, and but suddenly that made sense. Like, it just went click. Oh, I can see the landscape now. I can better understand who's who. I haven't changed which platforms I'm using. I literally only use Grok, but I've changed how I use Grok. And so last night was a case in point. I mentioned earlier in the podcast about how I was researching how to turn off the dings and dongs and warnings in the cars. And it depends on which car and which generation of software and all this stuff. Like, it gets really arcane really quickly.
Yeah.
And I was just able to ask Grok intelligent questions, drilling down and then identifying, hang on, oh, I haven't told it that I'm in Australia. So it's trying to pull global information. Okay, no. So I'm talking Australian models and da-da-da. Oh, well, that means this, da-da-da. Drilled down and got to the point where I got into the Kia Carnival this morning, the one that I've rented, pressed the button, it worked. Pressed the other button, it worked, started driving.
Yeah.
You know, and I was able to get that information, you know, out of AI, and now I know when it comes to buying a new car, I know what I'm looking for. And that was because I had the confidence to interrogate it much more persistently and thoroughly than what I had before I did your masterclass.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying to people, like, you know, stop extending your, like, and I was talking about this on the podcast yesterday as well, because we were talking about beauty standards. And some of the questions were like, how much does the patriarchy impact this? How much does influences impact this? And I said, these are all things. Yes, you could argue patriarchy. Yes, you can argue influences and commercialization. But also, what's your role in it?
Yeah.
You're the one on the app. You're the one opening the app. No one's got a gun to your head. No one's forcing you to enter your credit card details to buy stuff. No one's saying, if you don't do this, you can't show up tomorrow. You can still show up in society being somewhat unattractive.
Yeah.
Like, so, and this is what I mean, is like, there seems to be this collective attitude that everything happens to us.
Yeah.
And we're not in control.
You don't have any agency at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. And like, that's what I was so insistent on the AI thing is, like, you thought it was cool when we had Google and YouTube. Now you've got someone that goes and pulls it for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to sit there scrolling through YouTube videos.
It's amazing.
So back onto the eSafety Commissioner. So she's been sending out emails. Did you see this?
Oh, yes. This is great.
Okay, so Preston
This is
Byrne.
so good.
He's a...
I've reached out to him and asked him for an interview. I haven't had a reply yet.
okay, so he's American?
I believe so.
He's a tech and free speech lawyer, head of legal and compliance at Arkham. Okay. So he got, he's written on this post, a client got their first letter from the Australian eSafety Commissioner. This was our reply. The US government was copied in. I'm going to read it to you guys.
Yeah, read the whole thing.
Okay. I'll do that so you guys can read the screen. This law firm represents such and such. I thank you for your email with the word official stamped at the top in bright red, as if sending emails to US citizens which threaten them with a $49.2 million Australian fine for nothing more than free exercise of their constitutional rights somehow exempts your agency from the requirement to utilise an international treaty procedure, all letters rogatory, before serving official correspondence on American citizens. You may be interested to learn that there is no all caps exception to the Hague service. I'm not sure what that means. My client will not be cooperating with your investigation because my client is American, not Australian. My client has First, Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights and will give you the same answer it gave the UK's Ofcom mutalis mutandis. It does not take orders from Australia. We fought a war from Australia's predecessor state, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, to settle that question. I would explain the applicable law, but unfortunately I have to go upstairs and watch the hit 2009 K-drama Boys Over Flowers, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. Really top quality stuff. Unfortunately, this means that unlike with your English colleagues over at Ofcom, I don't have time this evening to provide you with a complete explanation of how fruitless this fishing expedition is going to be for you. I am sure the UK can provide you with a copy of various letters we sent them or a copy of the lawsuit we served on them if you're curious. I've also published these letters, like I will be publishing this one within 60 seconds of hitting send. In the meantime, if you require US legal advice on constitutional basics, I'm sure there's a first-year law student somewhere who can explain to you how the First Amendment works. I blind copy officials in several departments in the government of the United States and government officials in multiple US states. They have been provided with copies of your demands. My client reserves all rights.
Yeah.
Sensational.
Yeah, beautiful. So I was just looking there to see whether he'd replied. So I haven't got a reply from him at this point.
But yeah, so that is sensational, isn't it? Like,
yeah. But this is the thing. These people need to be mocked. They
Yes.
need to be treated with contempt. You know, I'm sick and tired of, judges being able to say, oh, you're in contempt of court. No, sometimes the courts are contemptible.
yes.
Sometimes our politicians are contemptible. Sometimes you deserve to be treated with contempt. And you shouldn't get to sit there and go, oh, you're treating me with contempt, therefore I can, in the case of courts, I can imprison you because you're treating the court with contempt. No, the court sometimes deserves contempt. The E-Safety Commissioner deserves nothing but contempt, mockery, pointing and laughing. She should be unable to go out in public in Australia without hearing the sound of people laughing at her. She should be going back to America and trying to find a job over there and probably not being very successful because of the First Amendment over there. And then she'll probably end up working for the UN somewhere. She can be happy amongst her fellow little snout in the trough piggies gobbling up taxpayer money and in the misuse of power. Sorry. No, contempt. That's what these people deserve. It's
Yes.
what they need. And this is what was delivered by that lawyer.
Now, this is niche, but did you see the latest from the Supreme Court in the US, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who's...
Ketanji, I think it is, yeah.
Ketanji, sorry, who's come out basically saying that why does the president get to decide who's in the bureaucracy? The bureaucrats should be deciding this. This is what I mean when you said contemptible, the courts can be contemptible.
Isn't she the one that Trump keeps calling low IQ?
Yes.
And then he keeps proving, she
And
keeps proving him
evidently
right?
she is. And she was installed. She was a DEI. She was installed by the Biden admin. And she comes out with the worst takes.
That's astonishing,
The
isn't it?
worst takes. Like literally the reason the president is in charge because we are, not we, Americans are able to vote for the president. They can't vote for the
And
bureaucracy.
specifically, the president is the head of the executive branch. You've got three branches. The judicial branch, that's your court system. They interpret the rules. You got your legislative branch. They write the rules. Then you have your executive branch, and they basically run the functions of government. And the president is the head of the executive branch. So the vast majority of the bureaucracies report directly to him or report to people that he's appointed to be the heads of those bureaucracies. And he has the power to make them disappear.
Yeah.
Now, yes, Congress does get involved. There is congressional elements in the creating of new bureaucracies, and the funding goes through Congress. I'm not saying it's literally just he's a dictator and he can do anything he wants, but he has an enormous amount of power, and that's because he's the one who runs that entire branch of government, the executive branch of government, the branch of government that does stuff outside of law enforcement and justice. That's his department, literally.
So I'll just read you this quickly for anyone who doesn't have context around this. So it says here, one would think after the failure of expert opinion during the COVID-19 pandemic, the mask flip-flop, the unfounded 6-foot social distancing guidelines, and the catastrophic school closures, there might be more bipartisan skepticism about the wisdom of handing over significant power to unaccountable technocrats. But not all those who sit on the Supreme Court, where Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson went to the mat to protect the job security of faceless bureaucrats throughout the federal government's ever-expanding list of administrative agencies. The case at hand, Trump versus Slaughter, stems from President Trump's decision to fire Federal Trade Commission member Rebecca Slaughter as part of the broader effect to assert more executive control over independent agencies. He also fired staff at the National Labour Relations Board and Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. For our nation's first 100 years or more, it was well understood that while Congress had the power to create, organise and fund executive agencies, control of those agencies vested in the president alone. This is consistent with both the separation of powers, construction of the Constitution, and the Federalist Papers, which warned that the multiplication of the executive tends to conceal faults and destroy responsibility. And then it keeps going on. At first, the Supreme Court resisted progressive efforts to rewrite the Constitution, holding in Myers versus... Oh, sorry, this is niche political stuff. But then essentially what it is Ketanji Brown Jackson has said that she thinks it's wrong that the Constitution has run the way it has for 100 years. And she thinks these unelectable, faceless bureaucrats should have more power than the president.
Yep. And
she's doubling
she's
down.
dead serious, yeah. No, but there are people that are. There are people that actually believe that we need these experts, we need these technocrats, because the little people can't be expected to see. This is the next step. If you accept the idea that little people need government, they need daddy government because they can't be expected to make good decisions for themselves. It is a very small logical step from there to say, well, they can't be expected to make good decisions about who should rule them.
Yeah.
Politicians, well, they got selected by those same idiots that we can't trust to make decisions. So clearly they must be suspect.
Yeah.
So we have to hand all power over to an unelected bureaucracy because they're the professionals. They're the ones who really know what's good. They studied this at university, don't you know? They've got university degrees. So they really know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's a very small step to get to once you accept the idea that people shouldn't have the authority to run their own lives.
Yeah.
How could you possibly place any faith in the people that those people have elected?
Yeah. Do you want a palate cleanse?
Sure, I'm always up for a palate cleanse.
Palate cleanse. I think we'll all enjoy this.
Okay.
So this is a friend of mine. This is Lisa Jane Spencer. She is a satirical comedian.
Right.
It's like she's a conduit for this thing. Like it comes to her and she can articulate it in a way that only she can.
100%.
And I think, her voice is a vessel that carries through. And, I have young women coming up to me on the street crying, going, thank you so much for your girlfriend's wisdom.
Hey guys, I love abortions. So we're in stolen land. This is Aboriginal land. And as a white person, I just have a lot of privilege. I love immigrants. We need more immigrants in Australia, less white people. Okay, thanks, bye. Guys, how do you rationalise having babies in a climate crisis? That is such a good point. I'm gonna go get a hysterectomy.
So, question, that bit there, I assumed that was already part of the satire.
No, friend, that is real. Let's play it one more.
Oh my goodness.
Play it one more time.
It's like she's a conduit for this thing. Like it comes to her and she can articulate it in a way that only she can.
100%.
And I think, her voice is a vessel that carries through. And, I have young women coming up to me on the street crying, going, thank you so much for your girlfriend's wisdom.
Hey guys, I love abortions.
I honestly thought that the piss take had already started.
No,
that was
dead serious.
Wow.
I mean, I've never taken drugs, but guys,
Wow.
are drugs that good?
They must be.
I was like,
we're
what is
missing
that?
out. We got to get on this.
Yeah, she's a conduit and she's a
Wow.
vessel that carries through. Speak about fluffy language.
Yeah.
What does that even
Yeah.
mean?
But now, to be fair, I will say that sometimes Jordan Peterson gets a bit that way.
Yes.
Lots of words, kind of not saying any, hang on.
Intellectually flexing.
Yeah, just wading through treacle to try and find a path.
Particularly
through all
when
these
he's on
words.
about Dostoevsky.
Well, okay, so he does get very niche in that sense, but I'm talking, sometimes he ends up, and then we have to ask ourselves if there's anything at all, and he's so open-minded, his brain falls out, like his mind was so open. Now I love the guy. He does have some really good things to say, but I can understand sometimes. I'm sure if someone clipped a bit of this podcast, they'd be able to find some moment somewhere where I've sounded as idiotic as that.
Yeah.
But I genuinely thought the satire had already started.
It's funny.
That's amazing.
I do appreciate this renaissance of comedy and people just no longer caring. Like my Abby reel is going viral again. Like it's picked up again. And more and more people are seeing it. I think that people are feeling a little bit more emboldened to be able to go, nah, like a bit.
Yeah, a bit more of that.
Like Australians will never grab the pitchfork, right, and the bayonet, but they will grab the beach balls. Do you know what I mean? Like that's our protest.
Yeah.
And
true.
I love that about
True.
Australians. You know
That
what I
is
mean? We don't take it too seriously, but sometimes we should take it seriously. All right, next topic. God, there's so many.
I heard there was going to be a movie in this show.
Do you want to? All right. Do I have to put it on my computer?
Well, I'm not putting it on mine. So you're the one that wants to do it. Just while you get it ready, because I heard there was going to be a movie. I brought the popcorn, and I got the Snickers popcorn because it's got like these sort of. Hang on, let's just get the camera. It's got like chocolate on the popcorn. I just thought that would be the sort of.
Is this it? Is
still
this
crunchy.
the one?
It's been open for a while, but it's still crunchy.
I'm gonna have to turn the music off. What I'm gonna do is this because I'm not
music?
showing this on the podcast. Is this it? I think. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh.
You right there?
Oh, I'm not okay. All right.
Hey, I'm the one doing it to you. You made the promise.
Guys.
How long does it go for?
I don't get paid enough for this.
How long does it go for?
Okay. All right.
That's only a minute long. I can hear the music.
Oh, hang on.
So that means that we're about to get a copyright strike. You know what? The popcorn's really not doing it for me. I think maybe a Snickers might be the better.
I'm not even watching. I know what you're looking at.
Oh yeah. Oh. Snickers is the way to go. That's good. Actually, you know what would really take this up another notch? I got some Dutch chocolate snack. Sorry, I forgot to get a spoon, so I'm just gonna have to. Yeah.
Are you even looking at the screen? Are you? Do you know what you're looking at? What the fuck? What is this life that I live?
You kept saying to me, you don't know what you're in for. And I kept saying to you, you don't know who you're dealing with. And I think I was right.
What happened to you? Why are you so desensitized to this? Can I stop it?
It stopped. It's just sitting there. It stopped 30 seconds ago.
It goes for like 20 minutes. I think that's just a clip. But
can I just say, not a good mix. Chocolate yogurt with a
yuck.
picnic.
Well, there you go, guys. He's now seen it. He can gaslight us no longer. Is there worse? Does it get worse than that? I don't know if it gets worse than that.
No, I got Snickers in my mouth. I will say I was wrong. It does exist. There you go.
Now I'm going to have fucking porn all over my computer. Blech. Do you know what fucking is crazy about porn? You close down one window and then 37 other pop-ups come up.
If I can get dark about that for a moment.
Okay.
Do we know anything about the girls? Because I have to assume that's sex trafficking.
And like they've been laced with something. There's no way someone does that consciously. I've got the Wikipedia page. Shall we have a look? All right. No, you're not getting my money at Wikipedia. I don't care because you're biased. It's called Hungry Bitches. That's the DVD cover. Hang on. Let me let's learn about it together. Wow. We're all about history on this
channel.
channel.
And you thought having Merkins being advertised was bad.
To be fair, I reckon I've looked at way worse, especially when I started deep diving into pedophilia. Oh.
See, I can understand why that was shocking, 15 years ago, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Or actually probably more. I can understand why that was shocking then. But, like, it's like going back and watching Arachnophobia. It's not scary anymore.
Yeah, I suppose that's actually really sad that we're that desensitized. I suppose, like, now when you watch a Hollywood movie, you watch, like, if the person's getting decapitated, you see the actual decapitation. Yeah. What movie did I watch not so long ago that was truly horrific gore-wise?
I don't know.
Oh,
you tell me.
The Substance.
I haven't seen it.
No, that's the Demi Moore one that I talk about in my thesis.
Yeah.
Like, it was horror and gore. Like, it was bodycore. That's the genre. Like, you saw it. Like, it wasn't implied anymore. It was gross. I couldn't watch it. I'm like, movies of yesteryear, it was always implied, and your imagination did a way worse job. Now you see it.
One of the greatest fight scenes in any movie, sorry, before we get to Hungry Bitches, is in War of the Worlds. It's in the new one with...
Brad Pitt.
No, with... sorry, not the new one. It was the one with Mission Impossible.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Yeah. And Dakota Fanning played the
that's the plane
daughter.
crash one. War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said War of the Worlds.
Okay,
I was thinking World War Z. Sorry.
Oh, right, yeah. So he ends up, they're in a basement, him and his daughter, they're in a basement with another adult male who's a bit weird but I mean, everything's weird. They've just been taken over by aliens, all the rest of it. And Tom Cruise's character wants to stay put and stay silent. The other dude wants to go out and fight. And Tom Cruise is like, if you do that, we're all dead. So ultimately it comes to a head and you know they're gonna have to, one of them's gonna have to kill the other. And so they go downstairs because the daughter's there. They're like, all right, they go downstairs into like a sub-level under the basement. And you don't see the fight. What happens is the camera looks at Dakota Fanning, who's young, she's a girl, and the camera just slowly moves in on her face as she can hear the sound of two men downstairs killing each other. And then you hear one of them come up the stairs and it's Tom Cruise and he won and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, one of the best fight sequences. And you never see a blow.
That's a good movie. Anyway, back to Hungry Bitches.
Back to less good movies, yep.
We will never get advertisers. This podcast is so rogue. My goodness. 2 Girls, 1 Cup is officially the nickname of the trailer for Hungry Bitches, a 2007 Brazilian scat fetish pornographic film. The trailer features 2 women defecating into a cup, taking turns in what appears to consuming the excrement and vomiting into each other's mouths. I'm so sorry, everybody. And
do you think we're going to get demonetized for this episode?
Yes. Yes. Viewers often speculate about the apparent feces are actually food substances such as refried beans, ice cream, or peanut butter. Some speculate that the vomit is real but was regurgitated before reaching the stomach and does not contain any gastric fluids or something. Anyway, it describes himself as a compulsive fetishist, the director. He started having interest in producing these films in 1994.
When was it made?
It was made 2007.
Okay, so it's more recent than I thought.
But you were asking about whether this is sex trafficking.
Yeah. I don't know that the Wikipedia is necessarily going to give us a lot of insight into that, but I just, that's where my head goes. It's kind of like, I don't imagine they put out a casting call and explained the video and got very many applicants.
So filmmaker Ira Isaacs was tried multiple times under federal obscenity statutes for producing and distributing videos featuring scatology and bestiality. Apparently I'm saying bestiality wrong. It's bestiality.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not familiar with these
Until
things.
This moment, I didn't realise that scatology was an actual word.
Sadly, I do know this because I used to sing that.
Scat, I know. I didn't know it was scatology.
Yes. Do you remember the song, I'm a scat man? Beep-a-ba-ba-da-boom.
Yes.
Ba-ba-ba-da-boom.
That's a really catchy song.
Scat used to be like, jazz.
Yeah.
You're scatting.
Yeah. And now scat is also a term that you use for like animal dung on a hillside. It's
Yes.
We must be on the right trail. There's some scat here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It actually refers to defecation. And anyway, that's enough about that. He was sentenced to 4 years. He was ultimately convicted of 5 counts in April 2012 and was sentenced to 4 years in prison after courts applied the Supreme Court's 3-part Miller test for obscenity.
Man, if he and Bonnie Blue had gone into the same prison, the films, all I'm saying is the films they could have made.
I watched her documentary because I hate saying that I was fascinated. I'm morbidly curious. It's a bit like I'll watch the Jeffrey Dahmer series because I'm just curious. And then you watch it and then you're like, probably didn't need to see that. The worst one I watched recently was Fred and Rose West. Are you familiar with them? Serial killers? Oh, horrific. They killed their own daughter and then they were taking young girls and do like weird, obscene sex stuff. And then he'd kill them and bury them in the cellar. This was in London.
Yeah, right.
And this was in, I want to say like the late 80s. And they killed, oh God, like I have to.
So it's quite recent then.
Yeah. This is on Netflix. I'm not just making this up. Fred and Rose West. Here we go. I'm not going to do the Netflix review, but like this, it's true crime. Here we go. Claimed the lives of 12 young women, and the guy like is fucking terrifying looking. This dude. In the mid-1980s, including their daughter. The victims were young girls and young women. At least 8 of the murders involved the West sexual gratification and included rape, bondage, torture, and mutilation. The victims' dismembered bodies were typically buried in the cellar of the garden of the West residence in Gloucester, which became part of the House of Horrors. Fred is known to have committed at least 2 murders on his own. Rose is known to have murdered Fred's stepdaughter, Charmaine. They were arrested in 1994, and he ended up asphyxiating himself while being on remand. So he took the coward's way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once you watch these things, you're like, man, there are people that exist in this world that just...
Slight change of pace, but staying on the topic. Have you ever seen the film Arsenic and Old Lace?
No.
Very funny movie. Originally a stage play about 2 old grannies who basically do mercy killings. They go and befriend lonely old men and invite them into their home and give them tea and talk to them about, do you have any family, blah, blah, blah. And then they will decide that this individual is obviously too lonely and they're going to help him out by murdering him, poisoning him and burying him in the basement. And they have some other relatives that are as weird as you would expect coming from that particular stock. Including, I think it was Cary Grant was one of the lead. It's a romantic comedy, but not in the normal sense of a rom-com. This is a very offbeat rom-com. It's old, it's black and white, Arsenic and Old Lace. That is an official movie recommendation from Topher Field. Brilliant film. You have to put up with the fact of the era. So the acting style is not the modern acting style. And it was originally written as a stage play. Let it cook, right? Let it cook, let it start. And then you will be hooked. And by the end, you'll be very, very glad you watched the whole thing.
Okay. Speaking of obscenity, so we did touch on this Monday, but more's come out. Bonnie Blue has been arrested in Bali. And apparently, because pop culture, I sadly know all this stuff. The other OnlyFans girls that we've talked about before, Lily Phillips, who's the one that did the 100 men in a day or something, and then the other one, Annika McKnight, who's the Aussie. They have all been her friend at some point and they've now distanced themselves because she wanted to do that horrible stunt like the petting zoo thing. They were on Kyle and Jackie O, Lily Phillips and Annie Knight, right? And I'm not defending any of this. I'm giving you guys this context because this is who young kids are looking at. Like this is pop culture, right? This is mainstream. This is not niche, weird pornographic shit. This is like regular. If they're on the Kyle and Jackie O show, this is normal.
It's pretty mainstream,
which is terrifying. Anyway, the Lily Phillips and Annie McKnight were on the Kyle and Jackie O show and he was talking to them and Kyle got Bonnie Blue to call in. Now, none of them are friends with her anymore.
Yeah, right.
And so they were having a bit of a riff-off on air, on the radio. And in the end, I mean, Bonnie says the most disgusting things. It's rage bait. Like she's trying to elicit a reaction. But they said to her, why on earth would you be going to a Muslim country to do this where sex work is illegal and you can be thrown into prison? And Bonnie was like adamant she was above it and she had enough money to pay her way out.
Yeah, good luck.
But what's interesting is, so this has just come out this morning. Did no one learn anything from Chappelle Corby and the Bali Nine?
This is exactly what I posted about today.
I'm not defending Bonnie at all. I like, you want to be a sex worker. It's disgusting. I hate it, but whatever. You have to be out of your mind stupid to think that was a good idea. I mean, Bali's already cracking down on Australian tourists.
Now, you can't really see it. So she was staying in a lovely villa in Bali.
Yes.
She could have had a great time, hung out with friends, gone to the beach.
That's Herald Sun.
It's the Herald Sun one,
I'll pull it up.
You could have gone to the beach, had a great time, and come back from holidays. The problem is, number one, she makes her money out of the rage, the outrage, the rage bait. Do you think that Indonesians don't know who you are? Like, do you think that Indonesian authorities aren't going to notice that you're saying what you're going to do? Do you not know about Chappelle Corby? Like, this has got to be this has got to be one of the dumbest stunts in history.
I normally can't stand it when Benny Johnson or Tucker Carlson talk about demons because it's a little too esoteric. But looking at this chick, she has to be possessed by something because she's literally smiling. Mate, execution is on the table if you have been obscene enough. You are in a devout Muslim country and you have defied their morality laws.
More than that, you're in a devout Muslim country, specifically in Bali, which is a sub-nation within Indonesia, where the Indonesian government are sick and tired of tourists coming and living large and getting themselves hurt or hurting others or destroying their culture or disrespecting, as they would see it, with the sexual stuff or with drugs or with whatever, their laws. And they're looking for someone to make an example out of. Guess who they found?
Bonnie Blue.
Just a little bit.
She's an idiot. I didn't think much of her prior to this, but this
so
is
that's where she was staying. Like, okay, you've got money, go over there, have a bit of fun, enjoy the beach, enjoy some cross-cultural experiences, and then like go back to Bondi where debauchery is normal and do your thing there, right? Like, honestly, how dumb can you be?
Further to that though, like I'm not saying this is what I would have done or this is what you should do, but maybe make the content, don't make the song a dance and then post it after you've left the country. I don't know, like that if I were doing that, that might be a thought.
And because you've put the Indonesian authorities in a position where they can't not do something.
Well, this is the thing. You've embarrassed them.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. So, I mean, she's so cavalier. She's smiling. She thinks this is all fun. And the stupid thing is about new money is they think enough money will help. And you'll have this invisible hand that'll come in and just shake some hands.
Someone's just gonna save you.
Slide some money under the table.
No.
The problem is they need a Chappelle Corby. You might be it. And
how long did Chappelle spend in prison?
So she got sentenced to 20, but I think she ultimately served 15 or 16.
So how old's Bonnie Blue now?
She's 26.
Oh, see you when you're 40.
I
mean, maybe if your head stays attached.
And not only that, given what she is, you reckon she's going to have a good time in prison?
I think, given how much she seems to think she enjoys it, she's going to have a great time.
Maybe she will. Maybe it might be good for her. Who knows? But I mean, I'm actually really grateful this is happening because this should serve as a warning to all young girls. You think this stuff won't follow you?
Yeah.
You think there's no consequences? Yes, there is.
Yep. This is an extreme case. I mean, there's consequences even if you don't go and get yourself arrested and shot in Bali. But yes, we kind of needed this to happen. Everyone's life is useful. Sometimes that use is as a cautionary tale.
So photos of Bonnie with an Australian comedian have emerged as police give an update on the investigation. So there's been a major development. 3 men in Bali and the group was allegedly making X-rated material despite the country's strict morality laws. The British sex worker, along with 17 male tourists. Like, Bonnie aside, who are the men?
Yeah.
Who are the men going, I want to do this? Like, you want to talk about lack of parenting. If your young son is like, fucking, this sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Jesus, you've got bigger problems.
Even that video, like that's playing down the bottom of the screen there, I'm sure everyone was as distracted by that as I was, and I'm glad we couldn't see the whole thing. I mean, credit where it's due. She's self-aware.
Oh, yeah.
She knows exactly what she's doing, except that she delusionally thinks that,
she can get away with it.
Rules don't apply to her.
So 14 of the men, all Australians, were released without charge while an investigation into Blue and the other 3 tourists was
by the
launched.
way, did we mention it's a misogynistic country as well?
Oh.
Did that come
yes.
up? Yeah.
Julian Woods, the comedian, is also being investigated or interrogated. They've now issued a new statement to local media in Bali, reportedly declaring that as of yet they have not found any pornographic elements. But after quizzing all witnesses admitted to being at the studio to participate in a production of the reality show content, they said that the activity has been engineered to look exciting and interesting on social media, but emphasised there was no pornographic elements to it. They are aware of the ban on producing pornographic content in Indonesia. So, I don't know.
She might manage to weasel her way out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just making it look like that. It wasn't actually like that.
This might not work in her favour, though, because if it looks like she was just doing a stunt, that's going to lose her credibility with her people.
With her fans.
Her fans.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think Indonesia is going to want to be embarrassed like this.
No, now that they made the arrest, they need to find
Yeah,
something.
and from what I understand, they've confiscated their passports, and it's unlikely that she will be able to leave the country before February.
Pretty sure there's some boats headed for Christmas Island on a pretty regular basis. That's a fairly regularly scheduled service, so they probably just jump on one of those.
Don't say we don't entertain you on this podcast. We have given you an assortment of stories today.
Tell you what, this is an episode that is going to come back to haunt us in future.
I'm certain this has been demonetized, and you watching that video will probably go viral.
Well, look, I don't know why it would. I was just licking chocolate mousse off a picnic.
I don't. Yeah. We need to stop. We need to stop.
You just. I tell you what, that girl needs to eat more cheese. Okay, that her guts are not okay.
I'm going to die of dysentery just from this conversation.
That's proof that I did actually watch it, okay? I can grade the softness of the stool. Too sloppy, too soft. Wrong colour, terrible colour. Needs more cheese. Sorry, everyone needs to see your face. I told you I would win.
I need to die.
Do not try and outgross me.
Dear Lord, please, the world, open up and suck me in. I'm trying to regather myself. Okay,
Next topic.
I am scraping myself towards the end of the year. Like I am clawing my way there, and this conversation
you don't have enough in the tank for this.
I am in quicksand. I am desperate for this end of year wrap up. Okay, all right.
Dear.
So, what, pray tell, do you believe our beautiful youth are now doing, given that they're no longer on social media? What do you reckon they might be up to?
Sudoku and crochet.
Would you like to see what they're up to?
Sure.
Okay, this is the latest.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's budget weightlifting. They didn't have to pay a fee.
Motorbikes in the shopping centre.
Whereabouts is this?
Broadway Shopping Centre. Just normal. I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to say the thing. I'm going to say the thing. And you guys can clip this and, say what you will.
Get ready.
All of this, the youth crime, the social media stuff, everything that's going on with the youth, this is your fault. This is on the parents. I'm sorry. If your child who's 14, 15 is at a shopping centre throwing around chairs at unsuspecting people walking around doing their Christmas shopping, that is your failure. That is solely on your shoulders. You can't blame the government. You can't blame social media. You can't blame other kids. You're a shit parent. That's my story.
And also, you're past the point where a smack on the ass with a wooden spoon is going to help them. At this point, and I keep saying this, and I'm going to get in trouble for it one day, but I genuinely believe we've got kids bragging about, I'm addicted to stabbing people. Like one of the kids that was slashing the father and son out at Crown Casino, right? I'm addicted to it. At that point, a smack on the ass is no longer going to work, right? This is pin him down, use a baseball bat, break a good number of his ankle bones, maybe break a couple of his lower leg bones, maybe break his pelvis if he really needs 6 months in traction. Put him in a position where he will never walk in a straight line ever again. That's unfortunately what it's going to take. Now, we've got people saying, it's because we imported third world people, right? This is why we've got this third world crime problem. Well, that's a dramatic oversimplification, but actually it's because we have what we call a first world justice system where we're ever so soft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Naughty Tommy, don't do that again.
You have to think about the future of the children. Yes, I am thinking about the future of that child, and the future of that child is to die young and probably take someone else with him. That's the future of that child.
The more I've spoken about my upbringing on this podcast, because I don't really think about this until it gets sort of, teased out of me, I realise I had pretty good parents. I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah. And
as hard as they were on me, I'm pretty lucky.
What we actually need to deal with this third world crime wave, which isn't just being done by third world people from third world countries, but it is a third world crime wave. We need some third world justice.
Yeah.
Right? So people start seeing feet getting cut off, hands getting cut off.
There's a reason
People's
this doesn't
bones
happen in
being
Singapore,
broken.
Can I say?
Yeah. Oh, what happened to Barry? Oh, he's going to be in hospital for the next year. He's not going to eat solid food for at least 6 months. Why? His dad smashed his face with a baseball bat because he stabbed another guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's honestly, we're there.
What's the end result? If we keep doing it their way with the soft on crime approach and the you don't understand the cotton wool mum and dad crap. What's the end result? Where do we end up?
Well, we are literally calling good evil and evil good.
Yes,
right?
we are in the upside down world.
We have turned the criminals into the victims, and we have made, therefore, criminals out of absolutely everybody else that wants to stand up to them and wants them to be held accountable. The end result is ultimately people do take this into their own hands.
Yes.
And I don't blame them. I certainly would not blame people for doing that. And it'll happen initially in the form of self-defense, and then that will very quickly, once we get a few people have some wins on self-defense, we will very quickly end up with a situation where people are actively going out there looking for people to get their own back, as they would see it.
Yep.
And at that point, unfortunately, inevitably, they're going to pick on the wrong person at some point. They might get a bunch of the right people, but they're also going to get some of the wrong people caught up. A little bit like a certain Nayab Bukele that could be mentioned, but we won't, because we'll move on from that.
Drink!
And so therefore... and then that gets used as proof of racism and everything else. Like this is that race war kind of situation that you've talked about before. If you wanted to inflame racial tensions, this is how you would do it.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because that is a great segue into our next story. And this is the White Australia Party has submitted its 3,400 supporters for federal registration. So,
do we even need to talk about this? I guess we do, don't we?
Well, we do, because people will sit there going, oh, why do we
oxygen.
talk about these people? Why do we give them oxygen?
Yeah.
Because when you push them into darkness, this is what happens. They multiply. Friends, this is why censorship is so bad. And I actually had this conversation off air with someone yesterday, because we were talking about this.
Yeah.
And the problem with, podcasts like that is that you want to have these conversations, but obviously, advertising, and there's also, it's not just advertising, it's the, what do they call it? The board that determines what's okay for media.
The Australian Communications and Media Authority, ACMA.
Yes, ACMA, yeah. Not that Kyle Sanderland seems to care about that.
No, not a lot.
Yeah, so you've got to be mindful what you talk about. But, all of this content recently from the government coming down on the NSN and talking about how we've got people in Australia who are espousing these terrible views. They have put so much emphasis on them, and they were a minority. Like when we first started hearing about them, particularly around the Moira Deeming's time, I think it was like 12 of them.
Yeah, it's a dozen people. So here's my hot take. We would not be here if Victoria had not banned the swastika.
I agree.
Right? Banning symbols, banning speech, trying to criminalize it is exactly what makes them this edgy, cool thing that rebellious youths want to join and want to be a part of. And
I'm not saying they're tough, okay? Be careful with my words. Do not misconstrue what I'm about to say. But to a young boy, where it's either pull out the machete and run with the Sudanese, or be tough and look like this and be a man and Andrew Tate-like, which one are they going to choose? They're their options.
Yeah, we've talked about this time and time again. Andrew Tate would not exist as a popular figure, would not exist if it weren't for the fact that we've been told that masculinity is wrong for so long.
Yeah.
Same with these guys. These guys wouldn't exist if it weren't for, number one, the demonizing of white men. That's a real thing. We talk about this a lot. People who correctly diagnose problems and then prescribe the wrong solution, right? A lot of their grievances are real.
So it says here that the White Party have confirmed that 3,500 supporters have formally signed on paper in support of its application for federal political party registration. The figure exceeds the minimum requirement of 1,500 eligible members under Australian electoral law. The confirmation was made this week as party leader Thomas Sewell addressed media outside court following ongoing legal proceedings. He stated that the registration submission has been lodged and that the party is now moving through the formal verification process with the Australian Electoral Commission. So this is legal. They're allowed to do this. And the more the Labor Party comes out and condemns them and says this is terrible, the more you're going to make people go that way. And I'm just reading a comment here. Someone's written, to be honest, I'd vote for them over Labor and Liberal any day. Nothing changes with these two parties. We need someone that's going to get in there and change.
Yeah. And this is exactly how Hitler rose to power. And I'm sorry to use that analogy in the context of this conversation. But people being disillusioned by the status quo and just going, well, he's different. He's saying something different. Well, is it better? Right? But no, it doesn't matter because it's different. Right?
It's breaking up that fatigue around the tit for tat.
And
Labor.
it's a place for people to express their rebellion.
Yeah.
That's what they're offering. I would say it would be a terrible mistake in the same way that I think banning all those symbols was a terrible mistake. It would be a terrible mistake for the AEC now to try and find some technical reason to not register them.
Yeah.
The question would be, can they be registered under the White Australia Party name? And personally, I don't believe that the AEC should get to choose what a name is.
Well, if you
or
can
isn't.
have the sex party
Yep.
and the marijuana party
Yep.
and things like that, like
Yep.
you can't claim obscenity. White is a colour.
Yes, correct.
You know, like I know what they're saying by saying white, but what I'm saying is the word itself.
Yeah. Now, one of the arguments that these guys try and use is the claim that Robert Menzies was all about the white Australia policy, and he was, and most of our early prime ministers were. And so they go, well, if it was good enough for them, what's wrong with it now? So, well, okay. If it was good enough for the first dozen US presidents to be in favour of slavery, what's wrong with it now? If it was good enough for, let's do South Africa, shall we? Shall we talk about their history with that? Like, just because someone previously who was considered respectable held a certain point of view doesn't mean that that is actually the right point of view. Just because a lot of what we've done since is going the wrong direction doesn't mean that everything has been the wrong direction.
I would argue as well, like I'm going to be careful with my words here because I don't want this to come out in a way that people go, oh, she said something terrible. The fact that we haven't been able to discuss culture and race in regards to the early days of youth crime coming out, when we had the apex crime wave, and, certain migrants of Arab descent, particularly Afghani and Pakistanis doing horrible...
They're Asian descent, not Arab, but yep.
Asian, sorry.
Yep. They're part of Asia.
Afghan. Oh, I suppose it is. Oh, it's still considered the Arab world, but anyway, Middle East. Or Muslim, Islam, and terrible things happening in rape gangs and things like that. Because of the fear of the racist rhetoric, you are actually breeding racism.
Actual racists, yes.
Because I've brought this up multiple times on the podcast, Pakistani rape gangs in the UK and even here, and I was shocked to see this actually. Let me pull this up so I can make this point. So I've said for months now that the media reporting around this has changed significantly.
Right.
Because previously when there was youth crime, we were never shown the offender.
Yeah.
We were never shown their skin colour.
Yeah.
Now it seems the news has changed their attitude because not only can we see their skin colour, they're actually showing mugshots and things now. So this story popped up. Did you hear about the dog and the girl?
No.
Okay, I'm going to play this really quickly. Hang on.
Been saved by her dog during a terrifying attack in Melbourne's northwest. She was walking her pet Loki in a Melton West park when a man demanded her phone. When she refused, he pulled out a knife and tried to grab her.
The victim's dog has lunged at the offender, causing him to release his grip.
Yay, dogs.
And both the offender and victim have run in opposite directions.
The girl suffered a minor slash wound to her torso. The attacker is described as African appearance and roughly 30 years of age.
So the only reason they've showed his face is because he's over 18. But this is not rare. This is our norm. And the fact that for years we weren't able to say African or Sudanese or Afghani has made people go, well, they're all bad. I don't believe they're all bad, but there is certainly a percentage of them.
So I lived in Dandenong during the height of the Apex sort of scare campaign in the media, and I say scare campaign. It was real. There was a real crime wave happening, but there was this whole pushback around. It's being blown out of proportion. All the same arguments we're hearing now. And I lived right in the middle of Dandenong. I was in an apartment building just around the corner from the Centrelink, and people would walk from the train station to the Centrelink. So you can, and there was a drug rehabilitation halfway house just on another corner there. So you can appreciate we had the cream of society walking past the front. And the reason we actually moved out was because I started to get some anxiety symptoms around crime, and I was calling the police so often. So there was yet another assault on the streets out the front, and because I was looking after our son at the time and my wife was running her business from an office elsewhere, I ended up being a first responder to so many violent crimes that happened right at the front of our apartment. And I remember I was there with a guy had been bashed with a brick. I was holding him. He'd lost consciousness. For all I knew, that was it for him. I didn't know he was bleeding out of his head. Ambulance arrived, police arrived, and the cop gets out of the car and he says, "Oh, hi, Chris." And I went, I'm on a first name basis with the
that's
cops.
a worry, isn't it?
Not because I'm such a criminal, but because they have gotten out of the car enough times where I am on the scene of a violent crime on the corner in front of my own house.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Chris. And so I went, and it really troubled me. It really bothered. The guy did regain consciousness, by the way, and as best as I could tell, was going to be okay. I went upstairs really bothered by this, and I pulled out my phone and I had a look, and I realised that I'd called 000 3 times for 3 separate incidents since the last time I'd called my wife on the phone.
Yeah, wow.
And I went, this is not.
Yeah.
Like, I can't live like this. So we moved out of there. So I understand. My wife and I, on I believe it was 3, it might have been 4 separate occasions, would be driving into the centre of Dandenong and be unable to turn up one of the streets we wanted to turn up because the police had shut it down because someone had been stabbed, right? And on at least one occasion there was a body under a sheet,
Yeah.
right? That was the reality, and you know, all the while in the media, oh no, there's no crime crisis. It's a beat up. It's a conspiracy. It's a this. It's a that. The Apex gang thing was very, very real, and it was largely Sudanese led. We had gangs of Sudanese girls.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa. Gangs of Sudanese girls in broad daylight carjacking the tax office employees who would park on our street and walk. And at 5 o'clock, they'd come out and come walking up there, and they would come and steal their phones. They would come and carjack their cars. This was a genuine, very real problem. But what I also saw, because I would walk every day to the Dandenong shops and do our grocery shopping and everything else, was an enormous number of Sudanese or whatever other African minority kids going to and from school. You know, getting on and off the bus with their bags and their books, having conversations with people, playing basketball down the street, living lives.
Yeah.
Right? And so I would hear people saying, oh, we have to stop Sudanese migrants. It's like, no, we have to stop the violent people, many of whom are Sudanese. That's true. That's a real thing. But if we paint with this broad brush, then all we're going to do is create backlash because we're now targeting the wrong people. But the reverse is also true, and the reverse is where we are, where because, like you said, we weren't actually allowed to admit there is a real problem. There are some Sudanese people who are causing massive problems.
Yeah.
That's a fact. We weren't allowed to say that fact.
Yeah.
And so now we end up where we are.
Yeah.
Where we've got a White Australia Party getting enough support to get registered, and we're going to be one of the few countries in the world at the next federal election to be going into an election with an explicitly white race party on the ballot.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you 2 clips really quickly because, again, because we haven't been able to have this conversation and and talk about it frankly, we're seeing an escalation. So this happened in Blacktown in Sydney. This is a McDonald's. Oh, we don't need the music.
Staff got her order wrong.
She's come in, she smashed up all the screens, caused
goodness.
panic. And I'll read you the clip very quickly. A bizarre scene in Blacktown has gone viral after footage captured a woman berating staff at a fast food restaurant because her double cheeseburger arrived with only 1 slice of cheese. Shows the woman shouting at workers before police arrived to calm things down. Officers spoke with her but did not make an arrest, and the situation ended without charges. I'm sorry, if I did that, I'd be charged.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
firstly, I wouldn't behave like this, but it's vandalism. All 3 of those need to be replaced. Who's paying for that? Insurance?
What implement is she using?
It looks like a piece of metal she's like pulled off something. It's not a knife.
Yeah.
It looks like metal trim she's grabbed from somewhere.
No, honestly, I mean, that's genuinely, we need some third world justice.
Okay, so this is what I'm pointing out. So I'm going to say the thing. She's evidently a black woman. I don't know where she's from. I can't see her face. But because this behaviour is going unchecked because, we don't want to arrest her because she's black and it'll be seen as a bad look, they just get worse. And I'm going to show you another one. This happened. This is up in... what in
the world?
This is in WA somewhere. This is up north. And this is someone who is smashing their head into the windscreen of a ambulance.
I was going to say, is that an ambulance?
And look at him. He's headbutting it into the windscreen and they're trying to get him off.
Took 25 minutes for the police to come.
He's completely naked and he's smashing his head. Like, obviously, he's on drugs or something.
It's got to be a drug-related
Like,
thing,
this is psychosis. But again, why are these people repeatedly allowed to get back out into the community?
Has he got his head?
Yes, he's inside
He's
in.
doing the reverse Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Like, how terrifying. Like, look at this. This person's out of their mind.
Yeah.
And like, okay, you can have sympathy. They're on drugs. What about the poor terrorized ambulance, the first responders?
So let's talk about that for a second, because people use incapacitation through drugs or alcohol or other things as the excuse. And the courts will often, not always, but will often buy it and be like, oh, well, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
My only question is, did he know that he took drugs? If you get spiked, you don't know you're on drugs, then fair enough. You're not responsible for what you did when you were off your tits on drugs.
Yeah.
But if you got off your tits on drugs on purpose, I don't care that you didn't know what you were doing. You made the choice to put yourself in a situation where you were going to do things that you didn't know you were doing, and you should be fully responsible. The only time incapacitation due to substance abuse should be an excuse is if you legitimately could not or did not know.
I keep seeing this argument pop up from our progressive friends who say recidivism is not dealt with correctly if we are punishing these people, because it clearly doesn't work. Like repeated incarceration of people who repeatedly commit crimes, that doesn't work, and we've got the data. And like data, as we know, it can be incredibly manipulated.
Sure.
I understand that, and I'm going to use the exact same argument I've said 400 times on this podcast. When it gets to a point where it's so bad, that is your only, you have to do the Nayab Boucle, because now you've got people who feel utterly terrorized in their community. And it's no longer, it's something that happened over there once. It's like, no, everyone knows someone now.
Yeah.
If you weren't the victim yourself, you know someone.
Yeah. And this argument about recidivism and rehab and so forth, that's valid when you're dealing with petty property crime, kids stealing from milk bars.
Shoplifting and
that sort of stuff, okay? Maybe up to, someone's just stole their first car, maybe, right? The minute you get violent, the minute you're breaking down doors to enter someone's home when you believe that someone is inside, or the minute that you start doing serious crimes for a second time, then I'm sorry, that has to be off the table.
Yeah.
At this point now, it is about disincentivizing that behavior so harshly that any of the other idiots out there forget the social contagion effect of, I got away with it and look at me, I'm such a hero. No, reverse that. Flip that right on its head. Punish these people so severely that everyone else goes, whew, yikes.
But the problem is, if you do that, I mean, there are legitimately people in the Human Rights Commission and Amnesty International who are arguing that what Nayab Boucle is doing is outrageous. And they're arguing on the side of the prisoners and the MS-13 gang members. And I've made this comment before, but just to really drive the point home, they have the choice of either rounding up everyone to stop people being murdered, and that they were the homicide capital of the world, or go through the due process and slow it down so that more. And I've made that argument before. I don't want to keep.
Talked about it. Yeah.
So that's where we're at now. So it's like, okay, so we know it's around 1,600 repeat offenders who are doing all the crime. We talked about the graph last week. That was the data was being manipulated. Okay, so because it's 1,600 and it happens to be a bunch of them are minorities and immigrants. Because you don't want to be seen as racist, because you don't want it to look bad PR-wise, you make the rest of the state have to keep putting up with this. So much that you might get stabbed, have your home invaded, your car stolen, all sorts of things happening. So now this behaviour becomes unchecked, and that is the social contagion. Well, they get away with it, so I'm going to do it.
And then you get the reaction. And that's the White
Australia
Australia
And then you get the
Party,
vigilante.
Thing.
Correct. And it's all the same thing, and people can't see it.
But understand, politicians don't get rewarded for fixing problems. They get rewarded for promising to fix problems. And so the more a problem escalates, the bigger the promises become and the more they can gain from making those promises. They've got no incentive to actually fix crime.
Tangent. Have you had your blood pressure checked since we started this podcast?
Yes.
I would say mine is probably astronomically high.
Mine was checked only a few days ago for the first time in years. It's the first time my blood pressure has ever been high, but I'm going to suggest that's probably because I'm carrying about 25 more kilos than I should. That's probably I don't think having to sit across the table from you, I don't think I'm experiencing as much trauma from this as what you are. Let me put it that way.
Well, yes, looking at your face is traumatic, which is why I can't maintain eye contact.
No, I've noticed that. Yeah. You're often talking with your eyes are just kind of fluttering. It's
like, I have to go here. Yeah. It's like looking at onions.
So is that why initially we were going to do an audio-only podcast and you insisted that the set had to be completely black? Is that what was going on?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Better done in the dark.
Look, I've been told I've got a great face for radio.
No, so last night I was on the plane home and I happened to be sitting in the gate waiting area.
Yeah.
And I unbeknownst to myself was sitting next to a former Liberal MP.
Yes.
And I got into a really good chat with him and his wife. And I had no idea who these people were, by the way. We were having a good yarn. It wasn't until about 3/4 of the way through the conversation I asked them what they did for a living. And then I found out and I was like, And just to be funny, we talk about civil disobedience. I think you'll be proud of me.
Yeah.
So we know how Jetstar are notorious for weighing your luggage as you go on.
Yes.
Now, I was there for less than 24 hours. I didn't take much.
Yeah.
But my little rolly bag itself weighs about 2.5 kilos, right? So in there, I had barely anything, but I knew I was over 7 kilos. Plus I had my handbag.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying do this, but at the same time, I may have done it. I'm not saying I did it, but I may have done it. I got through that on the way up fine. No one weighed it. And I was like, yep, sweet, awesome. On the way back, I saw her wheeling out her little scale. And so I pulled out my laptop, which weighs the most, and I pulled out my book, and I pulled out my water bottle, and I pulled out my phone, and I put it under the seat beside me. And obviously these people watched me doing it. And then all of a sudden she comes around with the scale and she weighs my bag, and lo and behold, it's well and truly under.
Goodness, yes.
And then as soon as she walks away, I put it back in. I didn't do that. It's a totally mythical story.
And did this Liberal Party MP watch
They
you
did,
doing
and
that?
they're like, well played. That was genius. And I was like, and I said to them, I'm like, look, I have no issue with them charging, right? If that's their company policy, sure. But the fact is, my flight was delayed by 4 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit rich to expect me to pay more
Yeah.
when you can't even do what I paid for the first time.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really insulting.
So this is my civil disobedience.
No,
and I did it in front
and-
of a sitting, or no longer sitting, but a member of parliament.
And look, I thoroughly applaud it. I also think it really says poor things about the company that that's the business model they've chosen.
Yeah.
Right?
Punish your customers.
And every single person now, from the check-in gate to the people trying to get you to buy drinks and food, on the flight, etc., is now in a position where they are their own revenue source.
Yeah.
And their odds of conflict are dramatically escalated as a consequence. Compared to Qantas, where they're going to take a much more relaxed approach about carry-on luggage, and your ticket already includes all of the onboard refreshments. The potential for conflict, the potential for misunderstandings. Oh, I thought I don't get food on this airline. What do you mean you're going to weigh my bag? Like the opportunities for conflict now.
But can we just talk about how senseless these ideas are, right? So, okay, it's their company policy. I get it. Is it a private company, Jets are on Qantas? Not really. They're paid by the taxpayer many times.
Well, yes. So they are the
subsidised.
They've received enormous subsidies over the years, and they are the airline of choice for the Australian government. So we spend an awful lot of money with them. I don't think there are officially ongoing. It's not like a state.
You can buy shares in Qantas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's publicly traded.
It's publicly traded. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? If you are going to provide a service and charge people extortionate rates for that service, but then you can't even deliver that service, and it might be flight delays, it might be lost baggage, all sorts of things, then I think there is no way on this planet you should be then able to expect people to pay for things like overweight bags. Now, here's the thing, right? So the family next to me, they had 2 young kids. The 2 kids could have weighed no more than like 20 kilos each. They both had a rolly bag, and then the parents, obviously, they're bigger, and the dad was like 6'4" or so.
Yeah.
So you take into it weight. Now, I'm not even talking about obesity. That one's out. But like the difference between those kids and the parents alone would have been 50, 60 kilos.
Yeah.
Now, one of the kids' bag was 4 kilos. The other kid's bag was 8 kilos. So you would think you would move the 1 kilo over there. But how does that matter when realistically, if we're talking about the weight of the aircraft because you need to know for fuel expenditure, then why don't you weigh passengers? Because I would say there is far bigger discrepancy between the weight of passengers as opposed to whether or not someone's bag is 7 or 8 kilos. Now, here's the thing. Those rolly bags, you are limited by what fits in the overhead locker. And if it doesn't fit, they make you check the bag.
Yeah.
Now, I have at times carried my camera equipment and it would be easily 15, 20 kilos. I never let them touch my bag.
Yeah.
And if I do that, I'm usually on Qantas or Virgin and they don't weigh it. And so if it fits in the bag and it fits up there, how is that any different to it being 5 or 6 kilos?
Yeah.
Yes, of course, if it opens and falls on your head, you're going to get hurt. But if things are falling on your head, I dare say
if
you're
you're
going
in
to hit
turbulence that bad, yeah,
you're going to hit your head on something else. So that's a non-starter with the argument. But so we've got people who are and so compliant when they're going around the little scale. It was a packed flight. There wasn't any spare seats. And I can't tell you how many people tapped for that extra $70. So that is a revenue stream for them.
Yeah, and that's why they do it. But how have we destroyed? Maybe we should finish on this. I don't know. We started with
I've got one more to piss you off too, but yes.
Well, so my drive got ruined by all the dings and dongs and dips and boops and the car trying to kill me. Now, I've managed to find the buttons and so my drive home should be much more pleasant. But flying has been, again, ruined by not the actual planes. The technology, it's astonishing. It's incredible what we can do. But we've ruined the human side of the experience. You have to book, you can't book the last flight to get you where you need to be on time. You have to book an earlier flight because
you're going to get
cancelled and
delayed.
Right? Then you can't arrive in time for the departure. You have to arrive allowing for security lines to be stupidly long.
And traffic into the airport. The traffic into Melbourne at the moment, there's one lane.
Oh, goodness. Okay, yeah, right. So you have to, so if you live 45 minutes away from the airport, you are leaving an hour and a half to probably 2 to 2.5 hours before your flight.
You should be so you don't panic,
Yeah, in order to be confident that you can get there, you can park, you can get into the terminal, you can get through security without having to stress too much and make it to your gate without having to run and then find out that your plane's been delayed. And then all of the logistics of getting to and from the airport and then to your hotel or wherever it is you're going. A 1 hour flight to Sydney is 5-6 hours out of your day.
Right?
Yeah. And that's considered normal somehow. We've accepted that.
We accept it. And that's what I was saying to this Liberal MP. I was like, it's we have this because Australians are so compliant. Look at them all just paying.
Yeah.
They're not willing to, like, I'm not abrasive, but I will push back. I'm polite about it, but I'm not and that's my little civil disobedience. I'm like, no, I'm not paying you for this. Sorry. My flight was 4 hours late yesterday. And not only that, like I missed a couple of things I had expected to do. I was going to go see one of my master's colleagues and go see his exhibition. I couldn't see that.
Everybody drink.
But so yes, it was a great inconvenience. By the time I got to my hotel, it was 9 o'clock. There was nothing open restaurant wise because I was in like a random corporate area. So I ended up having to go across the road to Coles. I'm in a hotel. The best I could get was either a stale sandwich or a cup of noodles.
So if I pull out of my driveway in Albury, headed for Sydney, and you pulled out of your driveway, headed for the airport to fly to Sydney, I would have reached the hotel before you.
Yes. Isn't that ridiculous?
That's insane.
It's so insulting because if you had Qatar or Etihad, whenever you fly those, your flying experience is so superior. But also, aside from that, G and I are going to Japan in January. Our flights with one of the best airlines in the world, Singapore Airlines, was $1,600 to Osaka.
Yeah, right. Return?
Yeah,
right.
I paid $600 from Melbourne to Sydney on Jetstar.
Yeah.
And not only that, I didn't get the, you know how you have like the basic and then the flex and the whatever. I got the cheapest because I was only going for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then I paid for up the front. This is the kicker, right? So it's one thing that they wanted to sting me for the overweight luggage and I didn't pay it. I paid for as close as I could get to the front. So the first row was already taken and I think I paid, $25, $30 for the privilege.
So your theory that if you're crashing, you'd rather die first? Like what's the...
No, I just like to get off the airport. I'm used to being a platinum member. I get on first, I get off first.
Oh, poor little
Yes.
you. You sound like $100 million isn't enough to live on every year. Oh.
Where?
Oh.
Anyway, but I was happy to pay. I didn't sting the taxpayers for that.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Anyway, so I get on the plane and I'm like a third of the way through the boarding process. So there was a bunch of people before me. Anyway, the front row is already there. They've already sat down. And I'm row 2. And I go to put my luggage up and it's full. And I look on the other side, it's full.
Yeah.
And then I go to the cabin next to it and I open it up and like, no, that's for the front row only. And I looked at the guy and I looked at the people in the seat and I looked back and it was a little sassy gay dude as well. And I looked at him, I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yes, it's only for the front row. And I said, they paid $5 more than me. I paid for this seat and you're telling me, even though I paid for the luxury of being at the front of the plane, I can't have my luggage there. I have to go 8 rows back. What am I paying for, bro? And he's like, oh, well, you should have gone on the plane earlier. I'm like, as opposed to... like, you don't have priority boarding. I said, they paid $35, I paid $30. I want to put my luggage where I'm sitting and I don't know whose bags these are, but I'm assuming if they are also in my row and they paid, I also should have the exact same service that they get. You see my point? So if you can be in row 2...
And how many of them dragged you off the plane when you
None
were
of them. I'm very polite, but I just, I push back. And sure, people will be like, oh, Carly's such a Karen. Maybe I am, but maybe this is why we accept such terrible service because none of you guys want to speak up. And so in the end, I said to him, I'm like, hang on a minute. There are 6 seats and 6 people on those seats. That's still empty.
Yeah.
Why can't I put my bag there?
Yeah.
And then you could just tell he was like, I don't want to fight you.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, okay, just put it up there. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe don't be an ass next time.
But it's like it's stupid. This is nonsensical.
It is. And
people will say, "Oh, don't be a Karen." No, that's not Karen behavior. Karen behavior is entitlement.
Yeah. Well, I can't think of the guy's name. He said the problem with Australians is not that they're descended from convicts; it's that so many are descended from the jailers.
Yeah.
Right? And unfortunately, he's right. I'll think of his name in a minute. We have this rule, this petty rule-following mentality.
It's weird.
And when an Australian gets that little tiny domain that they own. That's their little
Yeah.
thing. It's like, oh no, I rule my kingdom with an iron fist.
Yeah.
My kingdom might be where you get to put your bags,
But I will rule it.
I will rule that with an iron fist, and it's so infuriating, and it does flow all the way up through all the levels of government.
It's so stupid because it just defies logic.
Yeah.
It was empty.
Yeah.
No one was inconvenienced. I wasn't being entitled, but you still stung me for it, you know?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I think he meant this deliberately, but he spilt my coffee on me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I just looked at him. And he knew that I knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to get even more pissed off?
Oh, look, why not? Why not drive angry? I'm about to drive for 3.5, 4 hours. Why not be furious?
So, talking about in the spirit of Australians, this is on brand for local council. You ready? All right. Let's play this.
In Jacob's home is the light of Huron Road, a dazzling Christmas display, but Hume City Council isn't happy.
Well, they're a bit like this Grinch here, eh? Christmas Grinch. They're ruining the fun for everyone.
Because Stephen's centrepiece is this feature on the nature strip.
I received a letter in the mail saying I had 21 days to remove my items out the front.
The deadline falling only 2 days before Christmas. If it's not removed, he'll pay the price.
Well, it says $9,120 fine.
And if the nature strip feature goes, Stephen says he'll take down the whole display, something neighbours don't want.
We like it so much, and he spent so much time doing that all. We're so proud of our neighbour.
Do you have any issues with the lights on the nature strip?
No, definitely not. And they're going to be gone in a couple of weeks anyway, so what's the difference?
But council says decorations must be contained within the property boundary to avoid hazards. The display poses a risk to essential telecommunications infrastructure and presents a potential fire hazard.
I've tried to tape everything down so no one can trip and there's no dramas.
Stephen can't work because of illness. His wife holds down 2 jobs to make ends meet. The couple can't afford a $9,000 fine, but at the end of the day, they believe they shouldn't have to.
You don't hate these people enough. You cannot have fun in this
100%.
country.
I've talked before about the fact that we need to bring back the phrase "go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
Like that is the appropriate response.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Now, I want to bring up a story that is directly related to that. I have spoken in previous videos about Casey City Council. Now, I used to live in Casey City. They brought in 2023, they brought in a local law that made the news because it required you to get a permit if you were going to camp in your own backyard. It required you to get permits in order to be able to have unregistered cars, vehicles on your nature strip, and they were enforcing it. So I did interviews with people that were actually being chased and pursued by the Casey City Council. Now, this is a rare little bit of good news. Now, this is Council Watch Victoria. This is their Facebook page. I think you're on their Facebook page, yeah. So give these guys a follow. They do
such amazing work.
They do good work. And it turns out, after a pretty epic power struggle inside Casey City Council, a new Community Local Law 2025 has been brought in, which the Council Watch Victoria describe as a complete rewrite that removes the worst excesses of officer-driven regulation and restores a fair, practical approach to property use. And that begins on the 2nd of March 2026. So not all is lost. Not all is lost.
But do you know why? Because they got up in arms. They created
people got
chaos.
Angry. They had the police showing up at some of the councillor meetings, and they ended up trying to hold them behind closed doors. And I've got to dive deeper into this story. I haven't actually done any research myself, but based on what Council Watch have said, that there were some decent councillors on the inside that managed to restore transparency, get the meetings to happen in public again, and have actually now done proper consultations and written the rules accordingly.
But you know why that happened is, because people got off their butts.
Yeah.
So, when people go, "Oh, Colleen's such a Karen," yes.
Yeah,
and you should be too.
Get angry.
You should be angry.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be nasty. It's not like I'm holding a gun to their head.
Yeah.
It's just like no.
Yeah.
I won't be doing
That's
that, thank you.
ridiculous. Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
And that I just wish more Australians would get off the bum. And G made a really good point yesterday. We're talking about, this whole Annika Wells thing. And people are all ranty on Instagram. And then what? What have you put forward? What have you done? What steps have you taken?
But what would you suggest?
Well, there's lots of things you could do.
Right.
Well, someone could organise a protest. Same with youth crime. Why is no one? We can organise a protest for Palestine. We can organise a protest for Black Lives Matter. All issues, which I made before, that are external to our country.
Sure, but also issues that appeal to a set that is largely unemployed or underemployed. People who are working hard, making ends meet, etc. The ones who are your everyday mums and dads worried about crime, they don't have time to go to a protest about crime.
But they also can't afford it, can they? So they don't have time. I work full time. I'm busy.
Yeah.
But you know what? I am so outraged with what's going on in this state that I made a petition and then I went and sat in Parliament.
That's true.
And I'm not trying to like, oh, look at me, I'm so amazing.
Yeah.
But the reel I made for the burnout car, that
Yep.
took 4 hours of my time.
Yep.
I did it, and guess what? It worked. I went to Parliament and had that partition read, and the Labor MPs knew I was in the room because David Limbrick told them I was there.
Yeah.
So do you know why I was there? Because if they dared try to like sort of do something, I
Minimise it.
sat there.
Yeah.
And they had to say it to my face,
Yeah.
and they were a lot more careful about their language. So there are things that I'm doing. I am busy.
Yeah.
I have other things to do. I also live an hour from the city. I still do it. I came up from Geelong and Torquay to protest during lockdown. I went through the Ring of Steel or whatever.
Yeah.
And so this is why I get so frustrated. You can't expect me and Topher and a host of others to be the ones that are constantly the mouthpiece. Yes, we do it, but at the same point, if it's just us, it's not enough.
It's everyone has to do what you can do inside your own world. And I get people reaching out to me all the time saying, "Oh, you need to cover this topic," and sometimes I'll push back and say, "Well, you can talk about it." "Oh, but I don't have a following like you." Well, I didn't have a following like me either the first time I spoke out. I spoke out for 15 years.
Oh, but it's going
before
to
I had a
impact my
following like me.
business, or it's going to impact my job.
Yeah.
I got that the other day. And again, not to shame the person, she's a teacher, and she's like, "Oh, I want to do what you do, but I can't because I'll lose my job." I'm like, yeah. I've lost a lot of clients.
And therefore, that's your price.
Yeah.
You know your price now. Your price is a pay packet. And you will give up what you actually believe, and you will stay silent when you know you should speak for the sake of whatever it is, $1,600 a week, whatever it is. I don't know what they make.
Yeah.
That's your price. Congratulations. You know what it is.
And people are like, "Oh, I'll support you. I'd love to get behind you." I'm like, what I need is people standing beside me. I don't need you like fucking cheering me on in my DMs.
But I won't object if you're going to buy me a coffee.
Oh, that's different. That's different. That keeps us going. But at the same time, you sort of go, you guys want to see change. Like, ranting on social media only goes so far.
Yeah.
Like, you just saw Nat Barr reading out the comments to the Prime Minister. He didn't care about them, did he?
Yeah. 100%.
All right, change of pace. A little bit of history
this is
for you.
Last thing, because I need to hit the road.
Okay, I just saw this. This is a random bit of history that I thought was fascinating. Did you know this? You have been talking recently about bootlegging.
Oh, yeah. I did know
you know this story?
This is awesome. Yes.
So I thought this was fun. The fun way to end a bit of
Yeah.
history. So during the days of Prohibition and when alcohol was banned in America, you had all the bootleggers and the moonshiners who were making alcohol in shacks and stuff.
Yep. Little stills in the Louisiana woods.
And so what they did, so that their footprints wouldn't be tracked, they invented these little inserts for their shoes that were shaped like cow hooves.
Yep.
And so they would walk
that's
with these
awesome.
cow hoof things. And it worked until one day someone accidentally left them behind and they got onto their little plan.
Yeah.
So great little civil disobedience.
That whole era is fascinating. That's what gave rise to mobsters. In turn, that's what gave rise to the FBI, and we're still living with the consequences of the over-militarized police state to this day. 90 years later, we're still dealing with the fallout because of the misguided prohibition of alcohol. And the NFA. So I did a video on this, the National Firearms Act. This is the American one, not the Australian National Firearms Agreement. The American National Firearms Act was brought in by Teddy Roosevelt because of the violence during the Prohibition era.
Everyone keeps saying FDR. Did you check that? A lot of people are like, no, it's the wrong Roosevelt.
Oh, probably was.
It was FDR.
Now that you say that, damn it. That's really annoying. I think I got that wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think you're right.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, thank you. I hadn't actually looked at the comments. Whoops. Yes. Anyway, so it was brought in because, he was the Bull Moose Party. Teddy Roosevelt was the Bull Moose. That's annoying. I hate it when I do that. I do it from time to time, and I hate that. Anyway, okay.
It's all right. You're not American.
Now
You're
you've thrown me off my stride here. So they brought in the restriction on fully automatic machine guns, on silencers, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, and some other things. And they had to do it under the tax code because otherwise it would be a breach of the Second Amendment, etc. And 90 years later, Trump has just repealed the tax aspect of it, which could lead to the Supreme Court actually ruling the whole thing unconstitutional because it's no longer a tax thing. But 90 years later, we are still dealing with the government reaction to the crime wave that came from the prohibition of alcohol. Right? And it's now literally 100 years since the prohibition was brought in. And we're still dealing, and a large part of the reason why the American government is so militarized and why that whole country is so sort of violence ready all of the time is because of the prohibition that started 100 years ago.
Yeah, okay. There
It's
you
madness.
go. One more thing. I wanted your view on this. So you would have seen this article that's popped up. The man from a high-profile Victorian family found guilty of rape.
Yes.
I know who it is.
Do you? I don't.
You just have to... Nothing's secret.
Yeah.
It's a footballer. It's the son of a footballer. Yes, well known. You wouldn't know who the kid is, but you'd know the name.
Who the dad is, yeah. Okay.
What do you think about this? So he's being found guilty. So he's going to prison.
And I assume he's of age.
Yes.
Because they're calling him a man. Not
Yeah.
okay.
He's in his 20s.
Then I don't see a reason why his identity should be kept secret.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Why is it being secret? What's behind this? Pretty outrageous.
Political connections, collateral damage for the family. But I mean, it happened. Like, if he's been found guilty, let's just assume that the process was followed and all the rest of it, which we kind of have to in the absence of evidence to the contrary. He did the thing. So, yeah, I don't know.
What's interesting is the girl, the victim, has come out and she's made a social media post. Now, the news is not showing her face, but you can go and find this.
Right.
And you guys, if you Google this, you'll know who it is instantly. It's on the internet.
Right.
Because people forget, like, the Supreme Court is in the city.
Yeah.
There's a whole host of people around at any given time with mobile phones.
Yeah.
It's not hard to figure out who these people are. It took seconds. So I would say this is also the Streisand effect. Oh, we don't know who it is. Well people
go
do.
and
That
find
makes
out,
people figure it out even more.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to keep it under wraps, like...
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I haven't read it. I haven't paid attention to it. I don't know the reason given.
The reason I say this, isn't it interesting? Like, this person has been convicted. They've been found guilty. It's no longer like a Bruce Lehman did he, didn't he? Contrast that to the young footballer from Geelong who it was on trial. And yes, it was suppressed because he was still on trial. The second the charges were dropped, everyone knew who he was.
Yeah.
We still don't know who the girl was that made the false claim. But in this case, you are a rapist. We know who you are. Or sorry, we know that you did it. Why don't we know who you are?
Yeah.
It's
I have no answer.
Very sinister, isn't it?
Just before we finish, want some chocolate?
No. I don't think I'll be eating chocolate for at least a month.
It's chocolate mousse. It's
please.
It's kind of, I don't like it. Just,
oh God.
Yeah, no, it's like that. Like, this is flavor from my childhood. It's I remember it so fondly.
I hope you get a case of dysentery on the way home, and that white Kia Carnival becomes a shade of brown.
We'll end up with. Well, on that happy note.
What a lovely way of saying diarrhea, dysentery, isn't it? It's such a nice word. This has been a wild podcast.
Look, you brought it on yourself. I did
warn
warn you.
I didn't bring it. I didn't do shit. This was you gaslit everyone and said it wasn't a real video. I made you watch it, and
I can neither confirm nor deny whether the 2 Girls 1 Cup being played on the podcast won me a bet or not.
Why don't you just walk around with a tablet, bro?
Well, I do. It's that.
That is so heavy.
Yeah, it's my tablet.
That's crazy. It's like
she's jealous. Mine's bigger.
I'm not. I downgraded
mine's
deliberately.
Bigger. All right, I have to get on the road.
Are you
and
gonna
drive
grift?
home. Oh yeah, grift. Tofufield.com. Grifty stuff. Hang on. Here, stuff. See, things, stuff, and things. No, we are shipping, and you can get stuff before Christmas. So if you head to tofufield.com. I brought stuff down from Upcountry, from where it used to get fulfilled. And
the country.
Upcountry.
Oh.
And we've got other stuff arriving into Australia, and we'll be shipping all very, very shortly. So, yes, jump on tofufield.com, grab your stuff, and you'll have it for Christmas. Yay. Oh, sorry, I was looking, yeah.
And if you want to buy my thesis, I have this in stock now. So you can buy my thesis. You can read all about beauty standards and AI.
Forget the thesis, but the AI course was good.
AI.
Yeah.
Fuck your thesis. 18 months of work
in
the bin.
No.
Yes, if you want to buy the AI masterclass, carlsjsoda.com.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was
you
very
thought
good.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
cool.
That being said,
bye. You sure?